Welcome back, Raceday TV fans. The tyre warmers have come off. The guys have gone out and qualified, put in some really impressive lap times right through the classes. And now the warmers are back on. The guys are getting ready to race. I see over my shoulder here some of the guys are fitting some new rubber for the race. But yeah, it's exciting stuff. Stay tuned with us during the course of today. We're going to be doing a lot of pit side action. We've got cameras on the track standby. We've got cameras up in the tower with Rob Portman. And just a quick mention to Henk and Fritz and the Raceday guys for making this all possible. But we are out here today to make sure that you guys are informed, get in touch with the racers and see what it's all about. We've also got the handsome chap himself, Keith Buerta, handling the camera, who's trying to make me look good. But yeah, the action so far has been intense. We've seen a few guys go farming a little bit, but stay tuned for the action, because this action is going to come to you today thick and fast.
Hello everybody out in live land on Facebook. We are at Redstar Raceway. It is round one of the 2020 Monaco series. You've just seen Clifford Ogle. He's going to be getting very warm and sweaty down in pit lane, bringing as much of the live action as we possibly can. Think of this as the best reality show you'll ever watch in your entire life. My name is Robert Portman. I will be doing double duty today, not only commentating and bringing you all the action live, but I'll also be racing in the Superbike class a little bit later on. So if you do see me abandon ship out of the commentary booth, it is because I'll be lining up on the grid with some of the fastest racers in the land on my beautiful Ducati South Africa sponsored V4 Panigale 1100cc machine. But as you can see, checkered flag is out for the final time in the qualifying and the morning sessions. All the riders will be heading now into the training center for riders briefing, and then straight after that they'll be getting suited up and we'll start the day's racing action with the very competitive and thrilling action-packed Supersport 300 class. The fastest boys and girls in the entire land will do battle for the first time in the 2020 season, so watch out for that. And then of course after that we got the big battle of the twins. Those are the big booming Ducati V4s and the twin machines now. Yes, that is kind of a contradiction, it's calling it the battle of the twins, but we do have some V4 machines lined up in there. And then of course we got the street bike class, a class we introduced last year along with a brand new Monaco series, and one that has just gone from strength to strength. So if you're out there in land watching this in Facebook land and you've got your superbike and you do track days but you want to come do a little bit more competitive racing, enter the Monaco series. It's 1,500 Rand for a Friday practice and a Saturday race day. And you can enter the street bikes. If you feel like doing another class, you can enter the Superbike or the Masters or the Bots. 2 classes for 1,500 Rand entry. And make sure you get onto the Monaco Facebook page and check out the calendar this year. We go to Redstar, we go to PE, we go to East London. We got 2 Kyalamis on the calendar for 1,500 Rand for 2 days at Kyalami. So guys and girls, Monaco race series is the place to be. So like I said, I'll be up here in the commentary booth bringing you the live action, but we will have Clifford Ogle down in the pits to bring us all the happenings down there. So let's go down to you, Cliffy. What you got for us?
Welcome back, Raceday TV fans. We are here at Redstar Raceway for the Monaco series. I managed to catch up with this fast, handsome character, Sean Portman. Last year he was on a Honda, did pretty impressive lap times, but this season he's on a Ducati V4, competing in which series are you competing in, Sean?
Well, I'm actually competing in the Bots this year, and my brother's obviously competing in unlimited 1,000, so we're doing back-to-back riding. We aren't done off tyres for this year, so no, all seems to be going well. Looking forward to the race. Qualifying was tricky, it was good. There's a lot of traffic to get through, but we managed to put it on pole. So yeah, we have to be happy. It's a completely different bike to the Honda. This Ducati is absolutely mind-blowing. The guys from Ducati South Africa, Jos Matthijssen, World of Motorcycles, obviously they've done a very, very good job. This bike was actually written off 2-3 weeks ago. We won't say how, but Zoki, the mechanic, and Jos managed to actually put the bike together. So they replaced the frame, ground up, motor, fairings, everything. So no, it's going well, it's going well.
So tell me, Sean, now you said that you and your brother are sharing the same bike. running in 2 different series. What does that mean in terms of setup? Because obviously you and your brother, different ride heights, different styles, different ways of riding on the throttle, different weights. I don't want to bring that up, but so tell me how's it going to work? Did you guys arrive at a base setting, or you guys are going to fine-tune the bike in between races?
Well, look, the bike is so good as it is. I mean, we found a base setting, and I mean, with the magazine testing bikes with Ride Fast, obviously we're used to soft bikes, we're used to road bikes. So, you know, for me, it's actually, I just hop on and I ride. My brother does a setup. So it's a good compromise. We don't really have any issues. We found a good base setup now. And I mean, the Ducati is such a good bike for any rider to go fast on.
So we've actually got a Ducati pulling in here now. Not the one that you're riding on, but I see a few laps have been done around the track on Redstar from the big boss of Ducati. Yes. But have a look at that beauty. I mean, it's not quite in race trim, but Ducatis really are beautiful motorcycles.
And it's good to see Ducati, you know, supporting the racing series. You know, all the other manufacturers are also here. Honda are getting back involved. Ducati are involved in a big way. Yamaha, Kawasaki, everyone's getting involved. And that's what makes a series, Monaco, awesome, you know. There's no tension, there's no bad vibes. If there are bad vibes, people are put in their place straight away. You know, it's just fun. Everyone's smiling, everyone's joking, everyone's laughing. I just hope that they don't put me at the back of the grid for the first race, because that's something that the bots guys would do.
Yeah, we've got to be careful on what we say. Yeah, just but yeah. So I mean, now jumping off the Honda last year to the V4, what kind of adjustment has that been? I know, like personally, when I've raced bikes, whatever, jumping from one power delivery system to another is quite tricky. How have you guys managed to overcome that? Because I mean, your times already this morning have been really quick.
Yeah. This morning was quick. Look, it's been tricky. I've never been sort of a V-twin or V4 man. You know, I've always loved the screamers. You know, your ZX10s and your blades, and so I've had to adapt a little bit to that. My brother's always been a V-twin man. You know, so it's hard to say. It's 2 completely different bikes. But they're both strong. We're obviously on the 1100 base model. Last year we were on the new Fireblade, the 1000cc. But there's no such thing as a bad bike. Really is. Nowadays there's no such thing as a bad bike. So just good to be on him, good to have fun.
100%. I mean, there you have it for the man himself. He's already shown his pace up front. I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do in the races coming forward. Good luck, man.
Thanks so much.
Sweet. All right, guys. Well, there you have it. So we got Sean in. He's given us his views. Very interesting in terms of setup and that getting the bike right. I mean, I don't think there's many guys that can go fast sharing a setup with someone else. So that in itself is quite an achievement. But I mean, he's already shown fast times right out the gate. So yeah, let's see how the day goes. Rob, let's hear your thoughts, but.
Yeah, thanks, Clifford. Yeah, chatting to my brother down there, it's just awesome. Like I said, we are very excited and proud to be representing the Ducati brand in the Monaco series this year. My brother in the Battle of the Twins class, myself in the Superbike class. So that's awesome. Big shout out to Jos Matthijssen from Ducati South Africa and World of Motorcycles. He has put 5 bikes on the grid, including himself, to race in the Battle of the Twins. So the man that owns Ducati South Africa and World of Motorcycles is on a V4 racing in the Battle of the Twins himself. So it just shows you the dedication and commitment there. And like my brother said, we've got Rian Free. I saw Rian Free walking around from Honda South Africa. We've got some representatives from Kawasaki, from Yamaha. So it really has, Monaco series has just lifted motorcycle racing and the motorcycle industry in South Africa tenfold. It's great to have Dunlop here. Of course, they are part of the Classic TT that we've got here, so it's great having the Classic TT joining and coming on board for the first round of the Monaco series. Remember, they go straight from here this weekend at Redstar. They'll head down to the East London Grand Prix circuit next weekend. And you want to talk about big names, we have got Steve Parrish in the house right here at Redstar Raceway. The famous Steve Parrish, the Grand Prix racer, the TT legend himself, is here. So that pays for the 50 Rand entrance fee alone. Never mind all the world-class racing action you're going to see here today. And let me tell you, it is world-class because I've come here on our Ducati V4. And let me just tell you the pace here. For anyone that's been around Redstar and knows the lap times here, come here, qualified this morning, did a 57.9, a 1 minute 57.9. Thought, yeah, that's quite good, eh? I'm in 8th place in the Superbike class. AJ Fenter on a 53.7 at the front on his Lacquer Racing Suzuki. Monaco is back after his big injuries from the 2019 season. He's in 2nd place on a 54 dead. Damien Pericati, he's stepping up his game on the BMW machine. He's at a 54.9 there. So the lap times that these guys are pushing out, this is, I don't want to even just call it national pace. This is world-class pace, the lap times that you're seeing here. So if anyone thought the Monaco series is just a fun, chilled series, which it is, but let me tell you, there's a serious level of competitiveness, and the lap times here in all the classes, if you look what the classic riders are putting out as well, it's absolutely ridiculous. And the Supersport 300s are street bike riders. The progression that they've made over the last year, and that is what the street bike class is about. It's about getting those riders that want to make the transition from track day into a bit more competitive racing, come do it in this environment. We've got guys like Ricky Moraes, David Postlethwaite from RD Racing, everyone willing to lend a hand, help you with your suspension setup. Come chat to me, my brother, all the other racers. We are so open to just helping riders improve. And if you look at Colin Hume, our MMA fighter, our bodyguard for the Monaco series, and if you see him, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So Clifford, if you can hear me throughout the day, I think we need to grab Colin Hume for an interview. He's got an MMA fight in a couple of weeks' time, so what he's doing here riding a bike, I don't know, but you'll see what I mean when I say he is the muscle in the Monaco series. But if you look at the Brigade, he started racing motorbikes last year, climbed on his BMW machine for the first time last year, and the lap times he is running now is just so competitive. So he's made that progression under the wing of AJ Fenter, of course. So just cannot, I don't have enough compliments for the Monaco series, I really don't. It has become the biggest motorcycle championship in the country. There's a nice shot of the pits, so great seeing some bike. There's Tarek van der Merwe, top national racer from last year, coming to join us in the Monaco series, sponsored this year by Dragon Energy Drink and Yamaha South Africa. So there's a beautiful R6 machine there. There's a KTM RC 390 parked next to him. And then there is another newcomer to the series, young Hunter Dreyer. He's the youngest competitor we have here today. So welcome Hunter on his Yamaha R3. There is young Chris Wright. He is going to be the man to beat in the Supersport 300 class. I can tell you now, that is international quality. The rider that went overseas to the Red Bull Rookies and represented South Africa last year. So Chris Wright is a name certainly that you're going to be hearing a lot of, not only today, but throughout the rest of the season's racing. There's a great shot. Already we've got fans packing out the grandstands here, so they've paid their 50 rand entrance. Nice shaded grandstands here. You get a great view of the entire circuit. That's 50 rand, it's not 100 rand, director. No, yeah, it's whoever paid 100 bucks, we are gonna find him and put him, unless, yeah, no, we'll find out. But it is 50 rand at the gate, so get your ticket. Like I said, bring the family. Redstar Raceway caters for the family. They've got a nice room set up for the kids with beanbags to watch movies. They've got games, they've got swimming pools, they've got trampolines, and then of course we've got some vendors here today. We've got mass custom suits in the house. We've got Bike Kings with their shop set up with all the motorcycle accessories. So it really is just a great atmosphere here at Redstar Raceway. There's Ricardo Otto, another top national Supersport 600 rider, all the way from George, that's come to compete here in the Monaco series. There's another rider all the way from Cape Town, Connor Hagen, on his beautiful Suzuki Supersport 600 machine. And there's another rider, also bike number 14 on his Ducati, coming all the way from Cape Town. So it really is a national flavor here at Redstar Raceway in the Monaco series. And that's exactly what we want to do. With the entry fee at 1.5 for 2 days, it really does allow those riders to come and race, and it just gives them the budget, because it really does cater for everyone to come and race. Like I said, 1,500 rand for 2 days. You do not need to be tied down to any club. You don't have to have an MSA full race license, although we do really encourage people to take out the MSA day license because of the medical benefits that come with that. But you have an up-to-date valid medical aid, you come, you pay your 1,500 rand, you sign in, and you can go racing. So that is the beauty, another beauty part of the Monaco series. But that's a great shot of the pit lane. That is going to be buzzing in about 10 minutes or so. The riders are in the training center, just being given the final instructions for the day's racing. We're going to try and work as clockwork as we have throughout the year. Redstar Raceway, one of the best tracks to come in the country. They are so organized here. Tracy Quinton, the entire team here at Redstar Raceway, know how to put on a race event. You can see the track is beautifully prepared, grass nice and cut, track conditions are perfect and primed to go racing. We've got the medics in the house, so everything is ready to go racing. I can see the classroom now starting to move a little bit there, so we are about to get those Supersport 300 riders lined up and on the grid. As I said, big welcome to Dunlop, and a big thanks for them for supporting the series. Ride Fast magazine, we'll be exposing the series as much as possible throughout the year in the magazine. So make sure you grab a copy of Ride Fast, out every single month at stores nationwide. So we're in over 3,000 stores nationwide. If you cannot find the magazine, just email myself, rob@ridefast.co.za, and I will sort you out. And then, of course, the biggest thank you, of course, has to go out to the team from Raceday. They are bringing you all this live action on that platform. And let me tell you, they came into this year and creating a platform to expose this racing and expose the riders. So without them, you wouldn't be seeing this. So a big pat on the back to Keith Buerta, Fritz, my director, who's going to be screaming at me all day, I'm sure. And Henk, of course, he's also here, the guys from Raceday. And remember, they've got the show called Hanging Cable. They put the first episode out a couple of days ago. That is on the Raceday Facebook page. It goes out live there. That just brings you up to date with all the racing action, not only in the Monaco series, but of course in the Bridgestone SA Superbike series, ZX10 Masters Cup, Bridgestone Challenge, Bridgestone Superbikes. So many, it's just exposing motorsport in South Africa. They've got four-wheel stuff on there as well. So to that team from Raceday, deserves the biggest round of applause that we could ever possibly give them, because they've come in, and let me tell you, they're not making money out of this. They're coming, they've taken their time out of their own schedule to come and help promote South African motorcycle racing. So a big thank you to them. And then, of course, a big thank you to Monaco, all the partners that we have within the Monaco series that have made this happen. Last year was the introductory year into the Monaco series, and as you can see, it's just getting bigger and better. Great shot that we've got here at the beautiful Redstar Raceway. We've had some rain, as you can see. That is why it's so nice, beautiful and green, not the luminous brown that we'll see later on in the year when the rain just tends not to come as much. But there is a great shot that you can see. That really is a beautiful track. 4.5 Ks, one of the toughest circuits in South Africa. You are really, body and mind are pushed to the limits here at Redstar Raceway. So these riders, especially with the heat that we're expecting here, close on 40 degrees air temperature we're expecting here at Redstar Raceway, 47 degrees track temperature yesterday at one stage, and today's going to be even hotter. So all the riders, everyone that wants to come through, stay hydrated. Remember, you got to do that. And remember, you can catch all the results live on the Speed Hive app. So get the Speed Hive app, download it, and you can catch all the live timing on there and just catch up with the times that the guys are doing, the positions. That's pretty much what I'm going to be looking at, keeping me up to date with everything that's happening on there. So a big thank you to Speed Hive for coming along and always as well supporting South African motorsport and doing an excellent job at that. You can see another great shot of the pit. So to the right there, that is the bots. That's pretty much all the battle of the twin riders. There's about 50 gazillion rand lined up in that pit. I could tell you alone. The 50 rand entry, just get there, get your eyes looking at some of those Ducati machines, and you will be drooling, and other parts of your body will be getting very, very excited, I can promise you. There's one of the grandstands that I said. Come here, you can come up here. It's nice and shaded. It's a great viewing spot. You can see 90% of the track, and come and support the riders. Really, guys, the girls and the guys that we've got here deserve to be applauded and just supported in to help just promote this Monaco series. We're going to try and do it as much as possible throughout the year, even at the away races, the PEs and that. It is a logistical and financial project to do. It doesn't just come for free, so we're going to try and do it as much as possible. So if you're out there and you've got a little bit of money wanting to expose your business, your company, your product or anything, please, you can get hold of myself, rob@ridefast.co.za. You can get hold of anyone from the Raceday crew, Keith Buerta. You can get hold of any of the guys and get your logo exposed to thousands upon thousands of viewers that we're going to get on Facebook, not only throughout today's race. Today is going to be a good kind of platform and a good introductory to show you just what we are capable of doing at exposing and giving you as a sponsor the coverage and the branding that you deserve for the money that you pay. And I can tell you now, it is not a lot of money. So if you think you're going to be spending hundreds of thousands and millions of rand, it really isn't that much money. It is probably the best value for money that you will ever get in sponsoring one of these classes or sponsoring one of the riders, of course, that we have here today. So I'm just looking at the classroom. I'm keeping my eye on that training center. It looks like they are starting to wrap it up. So in a couple of minutes time, you will hear those Supersport 300 machines light up. And like I said, watch out for young Chris Wright on that Yamaha R3, but he's going to be put under pressure, no doubt, by the fastest mother in the entire world. That is Nicole van Asveken. And rules have changed up slightly this year compared to last year. There were some restrictions in the Supersport 300 class last year. This year, no restrictions, so they can open it up. So that little Yamaha R3 machine that you see, that was CC'd at 300 cc's last year, competing against the Kawasaki Ninja 400s, the KTM 390s. People kept asking me, how can that be? There were weight restrictions, there were kind of some little factors put into place to make the bikes compete with each other. This year, it's open rules. So that little Yamaha R3 that in the hands of Chris Wright is not just a 300cc anymore, it's been bored out to a 390. That makes it competitive and on par with that Kawasaki Ninja 400 in the hands of Nicole van Asvegen in the on the Ninja 400 in the Supersport 300 class. Sorry. So it's very much a reality show. So you will hear me maybe just taking a break to have a bite of my banana and sip some water. But it is really that reality factor that we're going to give you today. So we're going to expose as much as we possibly can. So stick around with us. In a couple of minutes time we'll go live with the first bit of racing action on the day. That will be the Supersport 300s, and then we have got a jam-packed program for the rest of the day's racing action. So stick around, we'll catch up with you just now. So what are we doing now is we're going to bring you a track walk that we managed to record yesterday, just to give you an idea of the track conditions and the layout here at Redstar Raceway. Like I said, 13 corners, one of the most intimidating and mentally and physically demanding tracks in the country. So let's catch up with us and check this track walk out.
Going down the start-finish straight, over the start line, entering turn 1. Going into turn 1, you've got to start wide, it's a double apex, hitting the first apex, go a bit wide again, hit second apex, lift up the bike and get hard on the gas. Down the little straight, again hard on the brakes, second gear, hug the curb, come into the curb. As you pick up the bike, you give it a big squirt, going straight for the next curb at turn 3. Hug the curb, getting around the curb, and then pick up the gas and bike and get hard on the gas. Accelerate to turn 4, up to about the 50-meter mark. Again, hard on the brakes. Tip it in, second gear. As you go into the corner, you start off wide, go a bit tighter, and as you pick up, you get on the gas with short shift, go wide. This is a patient corner. You've got to keep it wide until you hit the apex where the block is. Hit the block. Then start getting on the gas, gradually picking up the bike. The short back straight is long enough to hit about 200 k's an hour, hard acceleration, and then coming into the next corner is a very, very sharp corner to the left. So you've got to hit the brakes hard, second gear, tip in, use the width of the track, going wide, coming in, going wide again. Then you go into the next corner, hard on the gas, flat out. Then as you get to turn 7, you've got to keep it wide, this corner closes on you. As you go through the corner, you bring it in from outside, go tighter. As you get the curb, pick up straight for the next curb at turn 8, hug the curb. As you through that curb, you go to the next one. This is the most patient corner, turn 9. And as you exit the corner, you hit the apex on the other side of the corner, hard on the gas, going through turn 10, which is flat out, almost about 180 k's an hour corner. As you get into turn 11, you just shift down, not much brakes you use there, also a fast corner, but the moment you see the marshal light, that's your cue to get on the gas. Then you've got 800 meters of stretch where you go flat out. You reach, top bikes reach up to 280 k's an hour. Then when you get to the 150 mark, again, you've got to have big balls here, brake very hard. As you come into turn 12, you've got to sacrifice turn 12 to make up for turn 13, where you can get on the gas hard again, coming out almost aiming for the pit wall, and then down over the start-finish line.
So that was a perfect illustration there from Quinton from Redstar Raceway, giving us a beautiful onboard lap there on his machine, and couldn't have done it better, to be honest. He really did give you a perfect perspective on how to ride this Redstar Raceway. It really is about lining up every single corner, because it runs in 2 directions. It does run clockwise and anti-clockwise here at Redstar Raceway. So some of those corners you can't really take your normal line, so you really have to change it up a little bit. But it's all about just cutting the corners as much as possible, not wasting too much track and time by going too wide on that. So that was a perfect illustration there. Well done there to Quinton, but it just shows you how mentally and physically demanding this Redstar Raceway track can be. So a lot of grip out there for these riders. A lot of time to be made up, and we're about to go racing for the first time today. The riders have come out of the training center, and we're going to get lined up any second now, get those bikes started and get going here. So tension starting to build down in the pits. I spoke to Nicole van Asviergen this morning, and she said she's just running a little bit off the pace compared to young Chris Wright on that Yamaha R3 machine. So she's gonna have to try and find some time somewhere. She's going to try and hang on to the coattails of the young rider, get herself as close to him as possible. So let's see what happens there. Big shout out to Leongo Gerope. He's joined the series this year as well on his KTM RC390. That is a young rider that also went over to the Red Bull Rookies Cup tryouts last year. And he's come in to do the Monaco series this year. And a rider that's riding overseas in Spain in the KTM RC4 Cup this year. So again, that international flavor is very much in the house. Just open the door here for my mom. There we go. Sorry, like I said, the reality's kicking in. My mom's just come and she's bringing me what a beautiful mother I have, eh? Bringing me a nice cooler box with some biltong. Hello, Ma. Love you, Ma. Love your mom. Listen to your mom, eh? They know best. Mothers know best, eh? This is my beautiful mother. Hello, Mommy.
Hello, my baby.
You live, eh? Say hello. You're live on Facebook, Mom. You're famous now. So, Mommy, go down in the pit. You'll see Sean there with our white bike. Down and right, and down there we go. Thank you, my mommy. You see my beautiful mother. Listen to your mothers. They're the greatest invention in the world other than motorbikes, eh? So there you can see a little bit more activity now going on down in the pits because the riders are out. The riders briefing just to highlight all the flags that we're going to use today, the race starts and everything. So a lot to get done through there. But now it is time to go racing. Nice cooler box. Thank you, my mom. Got my banana. Thank you. I'm ready to go. I've got my NPL nutrition ready to keep me nice and hydrated and fit for the days. It's going to be so intense out here. You saw how Quinton went around this track. Throw in 40-degree air temperature. It is not going to be easy at all. So if some of you riders are watching, please stay hydrated. We need you to stay hydrated. I'm in this beautiful air-conned commentary booth and I'm already sweating like a piece of cheese on a windowsill. So it really is hot out here. I don't even know how my team are in that commentary booth, in the OB van downstairs, because there's no aircon in there. So if you do own an aircon company and you're wanting to sponsor us a nice aircon for the OB unit, that would be great. We would love that, just to help those guys out a bit, because it is going to get very, very, very warm here today. Another factor that's got to be thrown in as well for the tires and the motorbikes, this heat really does play a huge role. I know, especially with the big Ducati machines, it really does. There we have some of our Supersport 300 machines now heading out of pit lane for the first time. So a couple of minutes away from lining up on the grid for the first time and getting the 2020 Monaco Motorcycle Racing Series underway. Second year of this amazing series happening right here at Redstar Raceway. See the riders heading out of pit lane now. It is time to get everything going, and really, really excited for this. It's felt like a long wait, but at the same time, it's come so quickly. I don't know, I mean, it's February 2020 already. I mean, just think about that. Just think about that very, very carefully. 2020. I remember watching Back to the Future, and it was 2017, and he was on hoverboards and all that kind of stuff. Well, we're still on motorcycles with two wheels and a front brake lever, so we're not hovering in the sky just yet. But some beautiful motorbikes that are on show, and some of South Africa's top talent, both at the junior level in the Supersport 300 class and in the big superbike classes as well. So what you are going to witness today, if you are at the track and watching this live on Facebook, is some of the best racing you'll not only see. Thank you, Mommy. Love you very much. Yes, I love my mom so much. Yeah, I love my mother. What a queen. But what you're going to see is some of the best racing in the entire world. It really is action-packed racing. Handlebar bashing, no holds bar racing. You know, like I said, if people think that the Monaco series is just a little championship that doesn't mean anything, wait until you witness the racing that you are going to see today. There is no holds bar in all the classes. See the riders again. There is Leongo that I was talking about, made the step up from short circuit racing onto the long circuit now. Such an amazing riding style, and big up to Autocycle Centre, Ryan Robertson and them from Autocycle Centre, the importers of HJC helmets into the country. They have come on board, not only sponsoring Leongo, but they sponsor so many riders in South African motorsport. So just great having brands like that, just supporting our young talent and future talents in South African racing. So we need more of that to come into the series, and now we have the platform that we can expose them and give them the coverage that they deserve for putting their money where their mouths are and supporting these young riders. You can see the teams are lined up on the grid. We're going to get the grid any second now. Let me just load it up on my Speedhive app. It'll give you all the qualifying results there. So let's go qualifying Supersport 300 machines. Last year, like I said, we had the unlimited and the limited classes. This year, it's just the one unlimited class. So it is young Chris Wright in pole position on a Supersport 300 machine, okay, bored out to a 390 machine. Now, people will know, like I said, if you've been here, you'll know lap times. A 2-minute 0.5, so 2-minute 5.5 lap time from Chris Wright on that 300 machine. That is just ridiculously fast. Clinton Faree in second place there on 206.7. Brilliant ride there from that young man who's just come on leaps and bounds in the last year or so. Nicole van Asweken, the fastest mother in the world, is in third place there at 206.8. Then it's Leungu in fourth place there at a 208.9. Christo Pino, another rider that's just improved immensely over his time in the past season or so. In fifth place, Keegan Mills in sixth. Watch out for Keegan. Got a little bit more pace than that in qualifying, I think. Mia Gaspar, another top lady rider that's just getting better and better. Had a big crash last year. She is coming back from that crash and recovering from that injury, so she'll just get faster as the season goes. Gregan Nell, another rider improving every time out. Nicole Faree up inside the top 10. Brilliant ride there from the lady rider. Oliver McKay, another rider that's come in and improving every single time out. And then Giuliano Desgus, another rider coming from short circuit into the big stuff. And then, like I said, Hunter Dreyer at the back there, bike number 32, to emulate his star. That is Tarek van der Merwe that you'll see up coming a bit later. And we've got a great shot of the grand.
This is it. There's no turning back now. The first wheels are about to 2020 racing season. I'm running up on the grid. There's no turning back now. You can feel the tension on track as Chris Wright takes his way up on pole position. The guys are now lining up on the grid. It's a sighting lap, and then we're racing. Listen to that horsepower. It's not a lot, but when you a couple of kilos on a seat, it's one hell of a ride.
That KTM RC390 front wheel pointed sky high, so he did really well to hang on to that. That was incredible stuff there. That's dropped him a couple of positions, so he's got a lot of work to do. Does look like young Chris Wright has got out front, got the whole shot. That's exactly what he wanted to do. It's up to now Nicole van Asweken and Clinton Faree to try and hang on to the coattails of young Chris Wright. You can see Wright's already starting to extend a couple of bike lengths. Oh, runs onto the grass. Does young Chris Wright there, pushing so hard to try and get that advantage early on. Nicole van Asweken closing that gap ever so slightly. Heading onto that long left there where you heard Quinton say you've got to be so patient through this corner because it just feels like it never ends. Cannot never find the optimum line through there. I've been here 6,000 times and I still get that line wrong there. But getting it right at the moment is young Chris Wright at the front end. Nicole van Asweken, you can see that Kawasaki Ninja 400. Still, even though that Yamaha R3 has been bored out to a 390, that Ninja 400 still got a little bit extra legs and ponies down that straight. She closes in. This is exactly what Nicole van Asweken needed to do. She had to go with Chris Wright. She could not allow him to get comfortable at the front end of this race because we know that even for such a young rider, he's got so much maturity, so much experience at being at the front end of races. The stuff he's done at short circuit level in his career so far is just incredible. And young Chris Wright looking to take his racing career that extra step further, just get himself ready for his international stardom, and let's hope that he does get onto that international level because that's exactly where he belongs, along with a lot of the riders we're going to see here today. Look at Clinton Faree now. He's come back in the mix, so he's got to turn a pace. Coming onto that back straight, it's Slipstream City now. You can see that Kawasaki Ninja 400 just pulls away from those Yamaha R3 machines. So Nicole van Asweken, let's see if we can get a shot back to the front end of the field, coming through the final chicane, and let's see if Nicole has been able to make that move into the final chicane then. For the first time in full anger, we're going to come across the line. It's the first time in anger in the 2020 season, and it is young Chris Wright across the line. He leads ahead of Nicole van Asweken, who's looking to put a move on the inside, going into turn one. Can she get it right? She is there. Young Chris Wright just closes that door, not allowing the fastest mother in the world to make that move. Clinton Faree is just sitting there in third place, trying to make that stick. Just can't make it work though. It is Chris Wright getting those lines. So you can see the different lines there. Chris Wright a little bit wider, Nicole van Asweken tightening up that line. And Clinton Free right on her tail. So we've got a three-way break at the front end. Chris Wright looks behind him. He can see that he's got Nicole van Asvierken and Clinton Free right on his tail as they head now into the second half of the lap. There is our positions, a beautiful screenshot there of the positions so far. Haven't quite updated those positions just yet, so watch for that to change. It is Chris Wright that's out front, Nicole van Asvierken in second place. Third place is all about Clinton Free. So it's a three-rider breakaway just behind them. Looks like Leongo, after that terrible start that he got, putting that front wheel sky high, he's now on his recovery ride, trying to get up into fourth place and hold it down. Nicole van Asvierken at 2:08.4, fastest lap of the race there. In fourth place, good start from Keegan Mills. Christo Pinault just behind them. Leongo down into sixth. Gregan Null in seventh place. So good stuff there from Mia Gaspar, the lady rider, up into eighth place. Nicole Free ninth, and Oliver McKay in 10th place. So here we go, Nicole van Asvierken again putting that pressure on to Chris Wright at the front end. We saw this how many times in the 2019 season. Chris Wright gets incredible drive onto that back straight, almost runs onto the highway as he came out there. Look at that Kawasaki Ninja 400. There is no replacement for displacement. Both very light and small riders, but that R3 Yamaha comes to its own towards the end. So closing that gap down there, but Nicole van Asvierken can't quite do it on the brakes. Chris Wright very stable and fast as he gets into those brake markers. The chicane there, Chris Wright across the line, second lap in anger. Looks like Clinton Free is dropping off the pace ever so slightly, so he's battling to stick with the pace of Nicole van Asvierken and Chris Wright as they came across the line there. Let's just have a look at the lap times on the Speed Hive app at 2:05.8, so already into the 2-minute 5-second barrier there for Chris Wright. 2:05.8 from Nicole van Asvierken, 2:06.7 from Clinton Free. So it just shows you in these smaller categories, very much like Moto3 that we watch on TV, if you lose that toe, if the leaders break away, it is so hard to get it back, and that's what's happened to Clinton Free there now in third place. He's just lost that toe and is unable to stick with Nicole van Asvierken and Chris Wright. There's the updated times now. You can see perfect timing on screen there now. That is the positions as they stand, with Keegan Mills in fourth place, Christo Pinault still holding off the challenge from Leongo in sixth. Gregan now, Mia Gaspar and Nicole Free. So we've got a good battle between the two lady riders there for 8th and 9th place. Oliver McKay upsigning the top 10 in 10th. Giuliano Diagos in 11th, and Hunter Dreyer down there in 12th place in his first outing in the Supersport 300 class, the youngest competitor we have racing here today. So a couple of laps down, we've done 2 laps. It's a long race for these little Supersport 300 machines. So again, that racing fitness, that rider mentality, that maturity is all going to come into play as this race goes on. And at the moment, we know that young Chris Wright has got all of those aspects in abundance. He's done it so many times at short circuit and big circuit level. And no, this is not looking good for Nicole van Asvierken. Chris Wright in that infield section, the dog bone section as they call it here at Redstar Raceway, it looks like he's just starting to put an advantage now over the fastest mother in the world in second place. Nicole is going to have to try and use the slipstream to the best effect there to try and close down that 2 or 3 bike lanes that she's lost down that back straight now. See if she can do. Clinton Free is certainly out of this. He's in a lonely third place right now. So the battle at the moment is between Chris Wright and Nicole van Asvierken at the front end of this class. You can see Nicole does certainly close down there. She's got to get the chicane right, but she's got to try and make up in that dog bone section. Chris Wright using the curbs and more as he comes onto that back straight. So incredible riding as they come across the line to complete yet another lap. So coming out of turn number 1 into turn 2 is our leading riders. Chris Wright just starting to extend a little bit of a lead. Nicole van Asvierken looks like she's able to close that gap heading into the first sector of the track, but that dog bone section, young Chris Wright again comes out of turn 3, uses all the track and more, has a look behind him, and he'll see a big face full of the fastest mother in the entire world, bike number 21, Nicole van Asvierken, still managing just to hold on to the coattails of young Chris Wright. But this is the section now where Chris Wright really does open the legs of that Yamaha R3 machine. And Nicole van Asvierken, she's got to try and find something. She's got to try and find it just half a second or so if she's going to want to stick to the coattails of Chris Wright and mount a challenge to the final lap. Like you see there, 4 out of 10 laps completed, so still a lot of racing. Chris Wright a little bit wide coming out of the 90-degree hairpin. That's cost him a little bit of time. Nicole van Asvierken's been able to close up there, This is the section though where Chris Wright just gets it all so smooth, and this is where his short circuit level riding would have helped him. Nicole van Asweken, remember, she also did some short circuit riding last year, won the Honda 250 Ladies Cup Championship there, so she knows what it's all about as well. She's doing a much better job this lap around. Going to be interesting to see those lap times, because Nicole van Asweken has certainly stepped up her pace. Chris Wright's got the fastest lap of the race so far, but Nicole van Asweken is digging deep here. She's doing everything she possibly can to stick with Chris Wright. This is where the Ninja 400 Kawasaki machine is going to stretch its leg and close down that gap. It was a 205.6 for Chris Wright last lap around. Nicole van Asweken a 205.8. Clinton Free, a lonely third place there. Keegan Moores, Christo Pienaar and Leungu. That's a good battle for 4th, 5th and 6th place, a little bit further back. Greg and Null not even out of that in 7th. So is Mia Gaspar, not too far off the pace. Nicole Free, she's just dropped off there in 9th place at the moment. Oliver McKay in 10th. Then it's Juliana Diegos in 11th. And Hunter Dreyer, your top 12 riders. As our leading riders come across the line, it's still Chris Wright. He's led from start at the moment. Fastest lap of the race does go to Nicole van Asweken, a 205.5. So she's found a full second in this race so far compared to what she had in this morning's qualifying. So that following Chris Wright around has really stepped up her pace and doing everything she possibly can to just try and get. She's got to try and disrupt Chris Wright though. Just following him around is not going to be enough. She's got to get into the head of Chris Wright. Maybe just put her on the inside, try and just upset the rhythm of young Chris Wright at the front end of this field. Ooh, looks like a couple of moves being put on further back there. Leungu's starting to get into his own now on the KTM RC390 machine. And that is a good dive. That's Mia Gaspar on the coattails there of Greg and Nell. So Gaspar's looking to get herself up into 7th place. There's a little bit of a gap up into 6th place. Leungu just ahead of them. Then it's Christo Pienaar, Keegan Nels. Those two riders are in a good mix. So if Mia Gaspar can get herself ahead of Greg and Nell, she could potentially try and close down that gap. Not an easy thing to do though on these small Supersport 300 machines. That toe is oh so vital in this category. So let's see what the lady rider can do. She's sticking onto the back end there of Greg and Nell as they go down into the slowest corner on the track. That is a 90-degree hairpin. Will be about 2nd gear on these little machines. Probably about 60 or 50 to 60 k's an hour going through that corner. So if you think they're hanging around, they are not. Getting down to, well, getting up to about 170, 180 k's an hour maybe down the back straight, these little Supersport 300 machines. So like I said, not hanging around. There's Keegan Moores in 6th place. This is the battle just behind them of Greg and Null and Mia Gaspar. Great to see Mia back after her big crash she had last year. Did some damage there. As we go back to the front end now, Nicole van Asweken still in the slipstream of Chris Wright. So putting the pressure on, Chris Wright will keep on getting that plus naught on his pit board, telling him that Nicole van Asweken is still right on his tail. So whatever the team have done during the break, they certainly have given Nicole van Asweken a much better package to now challenge Chris Wright at the front end of this race number 1 of the Supersport 300 class. They come across the line, another fastest lap of the race, Nicole van Asweken at 205.3. So Nicole has found something. She's got into a rhythm and she is sticking to the back, and I don't think she'll try and make a move just yet on Chris Wright. I do think she should maybe just try and shove that front wheel just to let Chris Wright know that she is there, just try and disrupt that rhythm. But at the moment, Nicole, with a couple of laps still remaining, she can just sit there, keep using that slipstream to find her that extra couple of tenths to keep her in that toe of young Chris Wright. But come a lap, 2 laps to go, she's going to have to figure out some way of getting close enough and putting a move on Chris Wright. The only way I can really see it is going down that long back highway straight and potentially into the chicane. She's just going to have to close her eyes, let go of that front brake and shove it on the inside. Old school block pass, not giving Chris Wright anywhere to go. But at the moment, Chris just able to extend a couple of bike lengths there. And now heading into the dog bone section, that is where he has got a little bit extra time over Nicole van Asweken. So let's see if Chris Wright has got a response to the pace so far of Nicole van Asweken there in 2nd place. 3rd place is, of course, Clinton Free. It's a lonely ride there in 3rd place, but a podium nevertheless. Then it's that battle between Keegan Moores, Christo Pienaar and Leungu for 4th, 5th and 6th place. Greg and Null and Mia Gaspar tied together there for 7th and 8th. Then Nicole Free, Oliver McKay, Giuliana Diogos and Hunter Dreyer, your top 12 riders in battle for the first time in this 2020 season. That's 6 laps out of the 10 completed for our Supersport 300 riders, so still plenty of racecraft to come into play here as they head down the back straight again. Chris Wright's done all the work at the front end of this race at the moment. He is the carrot at the front end, and Nicole van Asweken, you can see again, she just uses that slipstream, uses that extra little bit of power that she's got on the Kawasaki Ninja 400 machine just to close that gap. Beautiful riding style there from both these riders at the front end. Elbows and head position in the right places as they come onto the front straight. That's 7 laps completed then. 3 laps in anger still for these riders. Nicole van Asweken slightly tighter line going into turn 1 compared to Chris Wright. So Chris Wright taking those nice wide swooping curb to curb lines. Nicole van Asweken coming on to turn 2. Not lining up a move there, but potentially a dress rehearsal for a move that could come later on for the fastest mother in the entire world. Again, Chris Wright, that different line there into turn 3. There's 2 lines you can take going into turn 3. That wide, beautiful sweeping line that Chris Wright has if you've got the confidence in your front end. If you're not as confident in your front end and don't have quite the same kind of composure or confidence that Chris Wright does, you can square it up a little bit more. That line that Nicole van Asweken does take a slightly little tighter line. You've just put a little bit more pressure on that front end and the rear tire when you get on the gas, because you've closed the line that little bit more. But that really is about Redstar. You've got to try and close those lines, use as little as the track as possible, but still being able to line them up. Going into that hairpin once again. Chris Wright looks like he runs wide there every time, but that just seems to be his line coming through that 90-degree hairpin there. Nicole van Asweken, again, that slightly tighter line, not using as much track. And I think that finds her a little bit of time. You don't want to use too much track on these Supersport 300 machines. It's about closing the line, using as little track as possible to get the job done. Clinton Free, you've got to feel sorry for him, because you know as a racer, when you're in that lonely race like he is in, where you've got no one to really tag yourself in the front and no one worrying you from behind, it's just about trying to keep your mentality and try and keep that race mentality in your mind to keep pushing and keep going, even though you're not really in a race, in inverted commas, because you don't have anyone challenging you and pushing you. You can see the track map that we've got in the bottom right corner there with that big pink dot. That is just showing where our leading riders are and showing where all the riders are. That's a beautiful shot, that beautiful graphic there, showing the position of all the riders around the track. You can see our leaders have got a big lead over the rest of the field. Coming into the final stages now, there's a lot of sorting out to be done from all these riders. Chris Wright, still the man out front. Nicole van Asweken, still there in second place. Clinton Fourie in third. Christo Pino, Keegan Mills, Leungu, Mia Gaspar. She's got herself ahead now. We've had a rider go down. Looks like Greg and Nell somewhere on track has had a problem. So we're going to have to wait and see if we can find what's happened to Greg and Nell, because he's dropped down the timing monitor now and dropped down into 12th place. That promotes everyone up a spot there. So not sure what's happened to young Greg, and let's hope it's nothing too serious. Let's hope we can get him back there. Into the final section, race direction, yeah, just telling me into the final chicane. Oh, he came into pits, so some kind of issue on his machine there. So hopefully he can get that bike sorted out. Greg and Nels in pit lane and out of that battle that he was in for 7th place with Mia Gaspar. Let's just have a look, still out front then. It's Chris Wright versus Nicole van Asweken, pretty much what we saw last year. Remember, your champion from last year, Rainer Pretorius. Oh, there's a little bit of bumping and barging going on further down there. I told you that these boys and girls do not hold back in this class. So that was good riding a little bit further back there. I think that might be Nicole Fourie and Oliver McKay potentially that are battling it out there. Giuliano De Gagos just behind them. Hunter Dreyer in 11th. Hunter Dreyer looks like he's improved his lap time there, the young rider, so that's all it's about here for him. Gaining that experience, getting used to that Supersport 300 machine. It's been a big jump for the young rider. And let's see if he can get himself sorted out there and up and mixing it a little bit closer to the likes of Giuliano De Gagos and Oliver McKay come the rest of the season. A little bit further down there, it is still Clinton Fourie holding down that final podium position. Christo Pino in 4th, Keegan Mills and Leungu still 4th, 5th and 6th place battle. It's a really good battle going on there between them. Blue flags coming into that corner. That is just the marshals warning the riders that there is potentially a move going to be put on just coming from behind them. Nothing too serious coming there. But the marshals here are doing a great job as always at Redstar Raceway to keep the riders informed with everything that's happening out on track with the flags. We're coming into the final stages of this race now. Race leaders come across the line. There will be 1 lap remaining for them. So final lap time. It's time now for Nicole van Asweken. If she's got any kind of move in the bag, she's got to now think about putting it. Here's a move coming a little bit further back. That's Leungu, who's made the move ahead of Keegan Mills there. So Keegan Mills dropping down a couple of positions. Leungu, after that terrible start where the launch control and the wheelie control wasn't quite activated on that machine. Of course, it doesn't come with those, but he did very well to hang on to that machine. This is the battle out front though. Yes, it is. Chris Wright now on the final lap of asking. Still holding off the challenge from Nicole van Asweken, who stepped up her pace from a 2nd from this morning's qualifying session, but does she have an answer now on this final lap to try and put a move somewhere on this Redstar Raceway to get that job done? At the moment, again, losing 2 or 3 bike lengths as they come onto the back straight there. That's not going to help. She's got her only chance that I can see throughout this entire race is potentially using that slipstream down the back straight, and then, like I said, holding her breath, closing her eyes, letting go of the front brake of that Ninja 400 machine, and just shoving it on the inside of young Chris Wright going into that final chicane section, and just hoping that she can make it through and to the flag in first position. But at the moment, Chris Wright has not put a foot wrong. He has led from start to finish. He has not let the pressure coming from the fastest mother in the world behind him get to him. And he has just churned out those lap times, hit every single apex, hit every single line that he's wanted to throughout this entire race. And now coming onto the back straight there through the right-hander for the final time of asking. Nicole has closed down that gap. So let's see. Slipstream City down the highway straight for the final time. Is she going to be able to get any kind of slipstream? Is she going to be able to get on the inside? She's right tucked behind Chris Wright now. She's pulling out of the slipstream. Is she? They're side by side. There's 2 more laps to go. So it's 1 more lap still to go after this. But Nicole van Asvierken has made that move. So I've just been told by timekeepers that there is 1 more lap remaining. So they come out onto the front straight. It is Nicole van Asvierken. They're almost side by side as they come through that chicane. And it is Nicole. There it is. Final lap time then. Nicole van Asvierken has made her move. So I got it wrong. I thought it was our last lap, but this is last lap time now. And Nicole, using all of her experience, she's decided to pull the pin and make that move on Chris Wright. And now it's going to be about making that Kawasaki Ninja 400 machine all kinds of wide. She cannot allow Chris Wright. This is where Chris Wright's going to put it on the inside. Yes, he does. No, Nicole van Asvierken closes that line. So this is the tactics, Nicole. She wanted to get out front and just defend now on this final lap. Chris Wright, for the first time in this race, he's been demoted down into second place. Does he now have an answer for the Kawasaki machine ahead of him? He's got the pace in that dog bone section. He's going to try and get as much momentum through this long left-hander onto the short back straight. Can he get into the slipstream? Looks like Nicole made a little bit of a mistake there coming out there. Lost a little bit of grip on the back end of that Kawasaki Ninja. Here comes Chris Wright in the slipstream going on the inside. Is he going to make it? Yes, he does. Right on the inside. And another change up on this final lap. Can he hold the line? Can Nicole van Asvierken square it up and put it back on the inside? Yes, she does. No, she does. Yes, she does. Nicole van Asvierken fights back and gets herself back to the front end. So Chris Wright made the move on the inside, just ran a little bit too wide, and Nicole van Asvierken squared it up and has put that Kawasaki back at the front end of this race. This is going to go down to the absolute wire, down to the final corner. Exactly what we expect from our Supersport 300 riders. A little bit of a mistake there from Nicole van Asvierken. Again, that rear tire just breaking traction. Chris Wright going to put it on the inside. No, there's no room there. Now it's all about the slipstream. Can he get close enough to put that move on going into the final chicane? Let's see what he can do. Onto the back straight, onto the highway straight for the final time. Chris Wright has got everything tucked in behind the bubble. He comes side by side with Nicole van Asvierken. Can he do it? The 150, the 100 meter mark. Chris Wright is on the inside. Nicole van Asvierken trying to fight back. Both riders go a little bit wide. Chris Wright has lined it up though. He holds the line, and that is going to be, he runs a little bit wide coming into the final right-hander, and Chris Wright is going to pick up the first race win of the 2020 season. It is side by side. Photo finish almost as they come across the line, but it is Chris Wright who picks up the win just ahead of the fastest mother in the entire world. That's Nicole van Asvierken, and that went down to the wire. Nicole van Asvierken did everything she possibly could. Clinton Free, he's going to hold down third place. Here's Liungu in a good battle a little bit further back. What can he do? Looks like he's holding on to that fourth place. This is a brilliant recovery ride from the KTM rider. Is he going to hold on to it? Yes, he is. Coming out of the final chicane, a brilliant recovery ride there from Liungu. Excellent stuff there with Keegan Mills not too far behind him there. So brilliant stuff from those riders. Excellent riding all the way through the field there. Oliver McKay, brilliant job. Thumbs up there from Damien Purificati, the man behind, and daughter. Beautiful Nicole van Asvierken daughter there. They are very happy with mommy's performance there. Didn't quite pick up the win, but the pace that she found, Martinez from TRD Motorcycles, just pulling all kinds of faces. I won't even tell you about that filthy man. But here's another man that's putting his money where his mouth is. TRD Motorcycles, the new Kawasaki dealer out in Boksburg. And he's got a fully sponsored rider, and Dion Nelson on a ZX10 machine coming up later in the Superbikes. Thanks to the guys from Speed Off, set me up with my own laptop now. I do have restrictions with the websites that I can go to though, so I won't be allowed to go check out those fancy and those nice websites that us filthy men like to go look at. But we won't be doing that. But what we are witnessing today, and that is the way to kick off the 2020 Monaco race season. I can tell you now, world-class racing once again. But it is Chris Wright, just by 0.1 of a second ahead of Nicole van Asvieken. Clinton Free a little bit further back, so he'll try and swing some spinners and find some time there in third place. There's a beautiful shot of our Supersport 300 riders. That is the camaraderie that we have now in this championship. It really is a brilliant, and that's throughout the entire Monaco series. I can tell you that right now. It is a pit packed full of nothing but camaraderie, dignity, respect, honor, and that's what it's all about. You heard Sean Portman, my brother, talking earlier about there's no nonsense here, and if there is, it gets sorted out very quickly. That's exactly how it is in the Monaco series, and we've seen it firsthand there. There were Supersport 300 riders all getting together, all congratulating each other and coming into pit lane together. So that is, that just makes me a very proud and happy man to see those riders, those young riders. Remember, there's some, Chris Wright is what, 5 years old in the shade? Not quite that young, but he really is a young rider, and one of the future stars of South African motorsport, no doubt about it. This kid's got a little bit of Brad Binder potential in him, I can tell you that right now. I've followed his career from day one, and Chris Wright is a name that you're going to be hearing a lot of, not only in the Monaco series, but hopefully and potentially on the international stage. Please, 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 if you are a company out there looking for massive coverage for not a lot of money, motorcycle racing is not as expensive as you think it is, and the coverage and the branding you get is phenomenal. And with the Raceday support that we have down here now, showing off the racing action, it's prime stuff for sponsors to get involved in. So please get a hold of us. Get yourselves involved with the Monaco series, either sponsoring the TV, the live coverage feeds that you're seeing here now, or one of our many top riders that we have competing here throughout the weekend. So up next, I'm trying to see if it's street bikes or bots. Street bikes. So street bikes we have coming up next, followed by the bots, and then followed by that we have the Masters class, the Classics F1 race, Classics F2 race, then it's the 1000cc 600 class where I'll be heading down and racing myself, but Clifford Ogle will come upstairs and he'll take over from there. And then we have the historic motorcycles and the Ducati Owners Club South Africa riding. So even if you're a Ducati owner and you don't necessarily want to race in the Battle of the Twins, but you want to take part as a track day in inverted commas, you come, you pay your 1,500 Rand, you get Friday riding and Saturday riding. So it's not a race, it is just a track session for the historic motorcycles and the DOXA, the Ducati Owners of South Africa category there. So another great incentive to come and take part in the Monaco series. So, like I said, a jam-packed program of riding and racing that we have for you today. Street bikes up next, out on track. Like I said, we call it street bikes, but you're going to see some race prep motorcycles. The street bike class is aimed at bringing those riders that do ride their street bike with the mirrors, headlights and everything on at track days. You can come and race it in the Monaco series. In the street bike class, you're just going to have to duct tape all your lights up and your mirrors, and you can come race it. But if you've got a race bike with very limited track experience, this is the class you need to enter to improve your skills and come and race in a competitive ultra safe environment. People, we've got marshals, we've got 2 medics on hand, we've got everything that a top national race meeting would have, we've got right here at the Monaco series. So don't think for 1 minute that you're coming and racing in an environment that is not safe and not at international spec level. We do not spare a cent, we do not overlook any kind of little things. Everything is run by the book, to the book, and no expense is spared at bringing the safest quality racing that we possibly can to give.
Chris Wright, you monster. What an epic first race in the Monaco 300 series. Tell me about that last lap, because you and Nicole showed all the way through. What is your plan going to the last lap?
Honestly, I just wanted to finish in front of her, but I knew I made a few mistakes going into turn 1, so I was like, I need to pull something special like that. Then I just tried to take it. Okay, I really got something. Then I just sat grounded on the back straight. I braked it, and yeah, I don't know how I got it stopped. and then yeah, over the line.
That was epic. Now tell me, that's actually what you were keeping in your pocket through there. So watching the race, I figured that you had in your back pocket going into that last corner. Was that exactly your plan going into the last bend?
Not really. My plan was to lead the whole race through, but that was like sort of my backup if I made any mistakes in the last lap.
100%, man. So tell us about this 300 that you're on now. How's the adjustment period going, and any changes going to race 2?
Yeah, no, it's a Yamaha R3. It's a fantastic bike. Few changes on the front, and yeah. Thank you to MC Marketing, Racing, Tennis Batteries, and from Redstar Racing.
100%, man. Good luck for race 2, man. Good race. There we have it, guys. Chris Wright coming through there right at the end. He dominated.
Thank you so much, Clifford. Great catching up with your race 1 winner there. That is young Chris Wright in the Supersport 300 class. So on the live Facebook feed for just all of our spectators and riders here at the track present right now, we just had a great interview down in pit lane with Clifford Ogle, catching up with our race 1 winner there, Chris Wright. That was an incredible job. You heard him say he was pushed to the absolute limit there by Nicole van Aswegen. So look out for race number 2 from our Supersport 300s. But now it is time for our street bike class. As I was saying, you'll see some race bikes there and that, but this is a class that caters to literally street bikes with lights, headlights, tail lights, everything, but also to the riders with very limited track and race experience. You want to come race in a competitive and safe environment. Street bike class is that class for you. Colin Hume, our champion from last year, he's out front in pole position. Lloyd McGill, and remember, we're splitting them up now. Last year it was just where you finished is where you finished on track. This year we're going to split them up in time brackets. So we've got some of the Foster riders like Colin Hume. You can see AJ Fenter there on the grid with him, just giving him some lessons and some advice there just before he heads out. He really has done an incredible job there with Colin Hume. The progression that those two have made as a partnership has been absolutely incredible. So another rider that AJ Fenter has brought and improved into motorcycle racing in South Africa. So those Foster guys will be scored out front in a certain time bracket, and then through the rest of the field we've got those different time brackets. So we just make sure everyone gets a fair chance at competing in their various categories here at the Monaco Series. So it is Colin Hume, your last year's champion out front. Lloyd McGill, great having Lloyd joining us on his little Honda CBR 600 machine. Great looking bike. They've got like a custom fairing kit in that he's put on that machine. It really does look awesome. Bike number 41 there, that's Dylan Pinkerton. He's on one of the classic machines there as well. So wonder if he's going to be doing some racing later in the classics class as well. So great to have them there. But we've got Tian Fouché in 3rd place there. And then Marlo Ferreira in 4th place. 5th place is Dylan Pinkerton. Christo Niemand in 6th place. Henk Kruger in 7th. Donovan Moorman in 8th place. It's another rider that just started racing a couple of years ago, and massive improvement from Donovan Moorman on his beautiful Castrol Honda CBR liveried out machine there. Mick Hogan, Irward Pino, Franco Saranto on his beautiful Suzuki, Joaquim Fenter, Robert Ferreira, Tim Green, Paul Devereux, Chris Marie Schleimush, the lady rider there with the Rich Racing Monroe Racing team there. First time on a 600 for her. Also sponsored by HJC. Great to see more involvement there from them. Then it's Jared Miller, Jason Ludrow, and Sean Peterson. Your 19 riders about to do battle. Oh, looks like Lloyd McGill hasn't lined up on the grid there. So our 2nd place man is a no-show. Not too sure what's happened there with Lloyd. Bike problems obviously putting him out of this race number 1 of the street bikes, but it is a good start there from Colin Hume. Not always the easiest thing to do, to launch that BMW S1000RR machine off the line. It looks like he's done a great job there at getting it off the line, and he heads as they're going into turn 2 for the first time. So straight into racing action for the first time. Colin Hume going to be looking, oh, who's going around the outside? A brilliant move from the BMW man around the outside. He goes turn 3. He's not worried about if there's enough heat in the front tire of his. He has just railed it around. That was about 75 degrees lean angle there from him. Mark Marquez who coming there. I think that's Marlo Ferreira, bike number 46. So doing an incredible job around the outside of turn 3. He looks like he's going to try and go with Colin Hume at the front end of this field. 2:06 lap times from those men in this morning's qualifying session. So can he just go with him? 2 BMW machines at the front end of this field, getting the job done at the moment. Dylan Pinkerton, he's got a lot of work to do on that classic machine to try and dice it out with some of these more modern day, more powerful, more sophisticated machines that he's surrounded by. Edward Pienaar, he's in the mix. Donovan Moorman, look forward to seeing if he can hold on to a top 10. That'll be a great result for him. And then Franco Santoro, like I said, on that big Suzuki GSX R1000S machine So again, just shows you that you can come really and ride any machine. It doesn't have to be a full-bore superbike race machine. Bring whatever machine you have and come and enjoy the Monaco series. And Lloyd McGill, I think I just saw Lloyd McGill coming a little bit further back there, so maybe he sorted out whatever problem he had on that bike and is heading out in pit lane now. Let's see if he can make his way through the field and get himself into a potential top 10. He's got 20 very fast motorbikes to try and get himself through. Down the back straight for the first time, it is Colin Hume already extending that lead. So our big MMA fighter, remember, let's support this guy. He's got a big fight in a couple of weeks' time. So let's see if he can get the job done here. Getting the job done at the moment out on track. Don't want to say anything bad about him because he'll just come up here and put a fist in my face and put me in a chokehold, and I'll have to tap out, and I don't want to do that because my mom's here. I want my mom to know that I'm strong and I'll never tap out. But it is Colin Hume at the front end. Marlo Ferreira, it was indeed the brightly coloured Marlo Ferreira on his beautiful BMW machine, holding down that second place ahead of Ewout Pienaar there up into third place. Dylan Pinkerton doing an incredible job on that classic machine ahead of Henk Kruger. Tian Fouché, another young rider who's just improving every time he goes out. Had a couple of big crashes in his last year, in his introductory year, and so far this year. So he's just got to find his feet and just calm it down a little bit. But he is making that improvement, and that's what it's all about. In 6th place there, Christo Niemand in 7th, Franco Santoro in 8th place, Joachim Venter in 9th. Donovan Moorman is holding on to that top 10 for now. So have a look for that beautifully liveried out Castrol Honda machine a little bit further down. Tim Green in 11th, and Nyoko Baloy, great to see him out there on his BMW machine. Had a little bit of issues in this morning's qualifying. Another top rider that has got some serious talent and some serious pace. If you could just get some kind of sponsorship and support, we could have that young man just progressing himself and challenging at the front end of the street bike class. There's no doubt about that. So these street bike riders, they'll also be doing 10 laps of racing. That is a lot of time in the saddle. I promise you, one of my biggest stresses about racing today is whether or not I can last 10 laps around this Redstar racetrack on that almighty and all-powerful Ducati V4 machine that just feels like it wants to pull my arms off every time I open that throttle. So a lot of time in the saddle for these riders. You can see Colin Hume is just extending his lead, but there's a good little battle going on the mid-pack of this race. So we're going to look a little bit further down there. I think it's Christo Niemand, Franco Santoro, and Joachim Venter, Tim Green and Nyoko Baloy that are enthralled in that little mid-pack dice. Colin Hume is just extending his lead at the front end of this race. A 2:09.6 last lap around. He's pulled away from Marlo Ferreira there behind him. A 2:10.9 lap time there for him. So our two leading riders comfortably at the front end. Here's that mid-pack dice that I was talking about. So this is Dylan Pinkerton, Ewout Pienaar, Henk Kruger, Tian Fouché. That is the battle for third place all the way down to 7th. So some big bragging opportunities there on track, and that's a good little dice that's going to go on all race long. As I said, fitness and racecraft is going to come into play for a lot of these riders, especially in this heat that is just getting hotter and hotter every single second. Hello, my son, Mr. Robinson here. The whole Robinson family is out here. Great to see you guys. Some beautiful machines down in the. Remember, if you've walked down the front pits, there's still the whole back pit area that you've got to go check out. Those beautiful Dunlop Classic TT machines and some beautiful two-stroke machines there as well. So go check that all out. But at the moment, there is all the racing going on track, and there is that Lloyd McGill on that beautiful brightly coloured machine there. I'm pretty sure it is. So Lloyd McGill has sorted out his problem. Our second place man on the grid, didn't line up on the grid, had a pit lane start there. So he's starting to make his way through the field now. Let's see if he can break into that top 10. It's going to be a massive ask for Lloyd McGill, but already starting to make moves there. He's going to tick off 2 positions going into the left-hander. Brilliant move there from Lloyd McGill. Just ticking off 2 moves, shoving it on the inside, and finding himself now in a position to climb up and get ever closer to that top 10. So grid riding there further down the field. That battle between Ewout Pienaar, Dylan Pinkerton, Tian Fouché, and Henk Kruger. Looks like it's going on. Just behind them is Franco Santoro in 7th place there. Donovan Moorman and Christo Niemand in a good battle there for 8th and 9th place. Mick Rogan up into 10th place now. So good stuff there for him. Sean Peterson is the one rider that hasn't made it out on track, unfortunately. So that leaves us with 19 riders doing battle around this Redstar Raceway. First race of the season in the street bike class. And already judging by the lap times, a 2:04.7 from Colin Hume at the front end of this class. That is incredible lap times coming out of that man, considering he climbed on a motorcycle for the first time last year and has just progressed through the street bike class. To be putting in those kind of lap times, that is ridiculously fast.
Right, I'm here with Dave Buckham. Dave, you're on the second row. We can't talk fast because you're up next. What's the feelings ahead of this race?
Trepidation, always trepidation before the start of a motorcycle race. 24 on the grid. I'm sixth on the outside, hoping for a clean first lap and some endurance in the later stages.
I'm saying it's really, really hot out there. So, any specific plan to the race? Are you going to come good later? Are you going to give it gas up front? What thoughts are you going through there?
Usually, there's no strategy at all, and I just try my best. I usually go out quite hard.
I'm saying David, all the best up and studio with up.
Thanks to Clifford down there catching up with David Buckham. He'll be racing in the bots coming straight up after this on his beautiful Ducati V4 machine. One of the big players, of course, behind the Monaco series. One of the men that has come and taken motorsport and motorcycle racing by the throat in South Africa and produced what we are seeing here today and the whole of last year. So the likes of David Buckham, Mick Landy, the entire bots crew, really a big thank you to them and a big pat on the back to them for everything they've done. They've got a little bit of work to do because they've got a big player now in the form of Sean Portman that's going to raising the bar there. They have spoken about getting him completely drunk the night before and making him start at the back of the grid and that, just to give it a fair playing field. So Sean has got going to have to just start drinking a lot of water and getting those kidneys ready for it. It's going to be a long, hard season, not only on the bike but off the bike as well for him. Yellow flags down there in the long right-hander, so I'm not too sure the rider that's gone out there. It looks like it might be Dylan Pinkerton, the Classics rider. So those yellow flags out could potentially be Dylan on that machine. Let's hope that it's nothing too serious, but those yellow flags certainly were out at the back end of the circuit. Didn't look like anything too serious though, so let's hope and pray that it is nothing too serious. There is Marlo Ferreira on his beautiful BMW S1000 RR machine. It's the old spec, not the new gen spec, but doing a great job there in second place nonetheless. Not quite the same kind of pace as Colin Hume at the front end of this field, but doing a great job nonetheless. That is the back straight there coming into the final chicane here. A very tough little chicane to master. You heard on board with Quinton a little bit earlier, that onboard video we showed you, and he got it spot on. You've got to sacrifice that first right-hander and try and make the best of the next left and right. You've got to try and straight line that almost. A lot of riders I see it getting wrong. They try and carry too much speed into the first right-hander and making a massive, they make the next left and right like a full hairpin kind of thing. You've got to sacrifice the right and get through that next left and right onto the front straight as fast as possible. So those kind of little tips and tricks that you've got to get around right around Redstar, but you'll find massive time when you do that. And a couple of riders, I can already see, starting to pick up those little tips and tricks to get around Redstar Raceway as fast as possible. Just cutting the track. You've got to make the track as short as possible. It actually implies for any track that you go to around the world, you've got to just try and make the track as short as possible. I try and tell everyone that asks me for advice. You look at Marquez and those MotoGP riders, they cut curbs, they square off the corners, they're trying to make the track as short as possible. A shorter track means quicker lap time, so just keep that in the back of your mind if you are a racer or a track day rider trying to improve your lap times. One man that certainly is improving out on track is Lloyd McGill. From the back of the grid, starting in pit lane, Lloyd McGill is up into third place now. There he is, the beautiful bright colored little Honda CBR 600 machine, up into third place. So he's carved his way through this field. I don't want to say like a hot knife through butter, because this is like ridiculous what this man is doing. So he carries on this pace, 207.1 there. He's running 2 seconds faster than Marlo Ferreira, the man just ahead of him. Here's my fan here, keep giving me the thumbs up here. So great to have these young fans. That's what we need. We need to start inviting more of the younger generation here, get them involved with bikes, because that passion with youngsters getting involved in motorcycles seems to have just been lost over the years. All I wanted to do growing up was ride bikes. These days, it's PlayStation, it's everything else. So let's get the young riders here, get them exposed to motorcycle racing and get them in the seats, and you see a safe racing environment. Get your kids involved in the greatest sport in the world. Colin Hume already across the line. He is out front and pulling away. Marlo Ferreira holding down second, but he's coming under pressure now from Lloyd McGill. 206.1 there from him, and he's bringing along Tion Fouché, 206.8. So Fouché, another rider that's now got himself comfortable with track conditions, got enough heat in the tires, feeling comfortable on the bike, and he is now up into fourth place there. Evo Pino, Henk Kruger, they've just come across the line. That is the battle for fifth and sixth place. Donovan Moolman up into seventh place. Trisha Mulman, if you can hear me, whatever you've been giving your man at home or just before the race, keep doing it, because it certainly is working. Your man is flying there in 7th place. Good job. Mick Hogan there in 8th place, and Nyoko Baloy in 9th place. There is 10th place Joaquin Frenner. There's a great shot of the riders a little bit further back. That is a battle as they come across the line. A little bit further back, 3 riders going into turn 1 there. So great racing all the way through the field here, except Mr. Colin Hume, who didn't quite get the script that you've got to make a race out of it. He has just checked out front and pulled away. So AJ Fenter, please just take maybe 2 cylinders off that big BMW machine, because he's going too fast at the moment. Marlo Ferreira, Lloyd McGill, Tion Fouché, they are going to be in a massive battle any second now for 2nd, 3rd and 4th place. So it's a good little battle going on there. Ewout Pienaar and Henk Kruger are tied together there in 5th and 6th place. And like I said, brilliant ride there from Donovan Moorman, Mick Hogan, Nyoko Baloy, Joaquin Fenter. Franco Santoro just dropped outside the top 10 now, so he's got to just find an extra little bit of time to get himself back in there. Tim Green in 12th place, Christo Niemand in 13th, Robert Ferreira in 14th, Jason Ludo in 15th, Paul de Verius in 16th, and our young lady rider Chris Marie Slaybush in the Monroe Racing Camp there in 17th place, and Jared Miller in 18th place. And unfortunately Dylan Pinkerton and Sean Peterson out of this race. Great to see Mark Freeman here, the man from Audi Bruma. So if you're in the market to buy yourself a brand new beautiful Audi car, get hold of Mark Freeman. He's the man in the beautiful Dovizioso shirt. But we're looking at getting Audi Bruma involved here, get them with their pace car out and potentially involved. We've got so many Ducatis here, and Audi owns Ducati, so it'll be great if Audi can get in and involved in the Monaco series. There is our leader, believe it or not. That is Colin Hume. He is out front by himself. That is our bodyguard of the Monaco series, and when he climbs off the bike and takes those leathers off, you'll understand and know why we call him the bodyguard of the Monaco series. He's another Ian van our bodyguards from the Monaco series, Mr. Adrian van Dalen. He'll be racing in the Superbike class with myself coming up a little bit later, so look out for him. We've got some serious racing still to come up here now, and some Fris O's in the Monaco series. We've got a lot of Fris O's here. You do not want to mess with the Monaco series, because we've got Fris Oaks left, right and centre here, both on and off track, so watch out for those guys. Let's have a look at that battle. Marlo Ferreira stepped his pace up ever so slightly now, so he's got the message that Lloyd McGill is closing on him, and he's just putting his personal best lap of the race at a 2:07 dead. Lloyd McGill at 2:09.3 there, so he dropped off the place ever so slightly, and that is now putting him into the clutches of Tion Fouché. So that 3-way battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th place is still raging for those final podium spots, so big bragging rights between those riders. Great to see Mr. Jonathan from Aprilia, South Africa here, so another manufacturer here. You can't see me, Jonathan, but I can see you. And then the beautiful Yvette, the beautiful lady pillion rider. You're going to walk here now to me. Walk, yeah, there we go. Hello, Aprilia back in South Africa. Hello to the beautiful Yvette, the most prettiest pillion in the entire world. There's no. I know why you want her on the back of you on a motorbike. You're riding an Aprilia, and you got a beautiful pillion. I mean, does life get any better? Yeah, it's lekker. So there we go. Aprilia are back in South Africa. So if you're looking for one of those beautiful Aprilia RS V4 1100s or the 1000C machine, get hold of Aprilia South Africa. Down there in pits, there is some beautiful other Italian machines. That is our bots riders. There is Momo Hoppe, our top lady rider, sponsored by Ducati South Africa and World of Motorcycles. And there is James, that's the husband. Now you'll see him getting very lively down in pit lane. Okay, he's not having a heart attack. He just gets very, very excited for his beautiful wife that he's going to be sticking it to some of these boys. There's Mr. Jos Matthijssen from Ducati South Africa and World of Motorcycles. If you have not been to the World of Motorcycles dealership and Ducati South Africa in Centurion, you do not know what pure motorcycle heaven looks like. It is a motorcycle megastore. It is a mall for motorcycles, and you will absolutely drool at that shop. Not only is it Ducati South Africa, they have got beautiful pre-owned motorcycles for sale, and they have got more accessories than you could ever imagine, and a variety, all the sizes, all the stock you could possibly want. So, and a big supporter, of course, of the Monaco series and the Bots racing series. So big thank you to Jos and his entire team from Ducati South Africa and World of Motorcycles. But it is our street bike riders out on track. 8 laps completed of the 10. It's been a very long 8 laps in the saddle for some of these riders so far. Still Mr. Colin Hume at front. Fitness, no doubt a problem for him at the front end. Marla Ferreira doing an incredible job to hold on to second place, coming under pressure there from Lloyd McGill, who so far, we have a Rider of the Day award for the end of the day. So far, Lloyd McGill, starting from pit lane, getting up into third place, is a big contender for that trophy. Although if he does finish on the podium, he cannot get 2 trophies on the day. So then he's out of the race for the Rider of the Day. So let's see what happens there. He's coming under pressure from Tian Fouché, the young rider there. So let's see if Tian can just knock Mr. Lloyd McGill off that podium. Ewout Pienaar just behind him. They're in a good battle with Henk Kruger there. That is for 5th and 6th place. Donovan Moorman. I've got to find out what Trish is doing at home. If there's a certain position or if there's a certain something that she's doing, because this is a different Donovan Moorman we're seeing here so far today in 7th place. There, incredible job there. And then Mick Hogan, Nyoko Beloy up into 9th place. Joaquim Fenter rounding out your top 10, heading into the final stages of this street bike race. Run number 1 of the 2020 Monaco Series. All getting a little bit out of shape there is the Suzuki rider that we had on screen. So pushing really, really hard to hold on to that position that he's got. Got 2 riders not too far behind him, so coming under pressure there. I think that's that battle a little bit further down that's going on. Robert Ferreira, Jason Ludo, Paul Devereux in 16th. Chris Marie Slaybush, great having the lady rider joining us in the Monaco Series on that Munro sponsored ZX6 machine, and it's always great. Vic Rich and the team from Munro always supporting South African motorcycle racing and putting riders on the grid. So big hats off there to the Munro racing team and Vic Rich for once again putting another bike on the grid. Unfortunately, no Cam Aitken in that grid at the moment. Our 600 Supersport champion from last year in the Monaco Series. He's unfortunately budget a big issue there. So again, if you are a company out there looking to sponsor, is that our race? No, this is the. Oh, is it the end? Yeah, it must be. It's the end of the race. Checkered flag has come out there. I thought that was our race leader, Colin Hume, that had now stopped. And that was the end of his race. So the checkered flag has come out. It's an 8-lap race, not a 10-lap race. So that is our street bike riders done and dusted. So as they come across the line there, it is Colin Hume who's picked up the win. Marla Ferreira, brilliant job at holding on to that 2nd place. 3rd place is all about Tian Fouché. 4th place, Lloyd McGill. He heard me say that you can't get 2 trophies. So it looks like he wants to pick up the Rider of the Day trophy because he was bumped off the podium there from Tian Fouché. Well done, young Tian Fouché. That is brilliant stuff. It's been a long, hard road for that young man, and that podium will feel like an absolute win to him and his team. So brilliant stuff there. You can see the riders just lining up again, just showing that camaraderie, everyone lining up together there. And that's brilliant to see as always. Just behind them, Ewout Pienaar hold on to 5th place. Henk Kruger in 6th place. Mick Hogan in 7th. Donovan Moorman in 8th. So he just lost the position on that final lap there to Mick Hogan in 8th place. Nyoko Beloy in 9th. Good top 10 there for him after the problems he had in this morning's qualifying. Joaquim Fenter, Tim Green, Christo Niemann, Franco Santoro in 13th, Robert Ferreira in 14th, Jason Ludrow in 15th, Paul Devereux in 16th, Chris Marie Slaybush, the lady rider, on her first outing in the Monaco Series on that ZX6 Vic Racing, Munro Racing machine in 17th, Jared Miller rounding out your top 18 riders. Dylan Pinkerton, fortunately problems there for him, and Sean Peterson. Let's hope that those 2 riders can get themselves sorted out and ready for race number 2. Let's go down to Clifford Ogle, who's catching up with some of our Ducati riders.
Right, so it's the street bike class is now done and dusted, and it's a time for the pit lane to come alive with the sound of V4 and V2 power. Listen to that in the background. The guys are ready. They've been giving each other the high five and good luck for the race in pit lane, but now it's time for things to get serious. If you look over my shoulder here, you can see that it's time to go racing. The long anticipated race of the bots is finally here for 2020 in the Monaco Series. So if we have a look there, the motors are getting fired up. Everyone's at their mark for the tire warmer parade or sprint race to get your warmers off. But yeah, just have a look at it. So yeah, if you're new to the series and you're not sure what bots is, it used to be Battle of the Twins when Ducati only went with the V2, but now with the upgrade and the new Panigale coming out on the V4 motor, it's changed things a little bit. I think the V4, if you're on a V4 machine, you've got a massive advantage. But some of these guys are still on the V2 and showing some really quick lap times. But yeah, this is always the most nervy part of any race weekend, is that moment before everything happens, the calm before the storm. And if you look at all these riders here, you can see there's absolute focus. So yeah, it's finally here. We've been talking about it a lot. We spoke about it on Tuesday. Off go the warmers. The stands are starting to come down. It's almost time to go racing. Look at Dave getting the warmers off there. Paddock stands down. Here we go. There we go, listen to that rev. It's a big field, there's going to be a lot of racing all the way down the grid. So guys, make sure you stay tuned to Ride Fast TV here at the Monaco Series because it's about to get serious.
Yeah, Clifford, thanks so much. You could just hear those beautiful Ducatis booming down in pit lane. Like I said, a lot of tension. This is the most nerve-wracking part for any rider, those butterflies. And this is my problem. I'm in the commentary booth now. So normally before I go race, I have a pre-game, visit to the bathroom. I can't do that anymore. So I've got to climb on the bike with a tummy full of nervousness. And I can tell you now, even though I've been watching my brother and experienced my brother racing all these years, I still get extremely nervous. My brother's going to go out there now and race. He's the man in pole position. I don't even know how my poor mother has dealt with this for so long. I don't know how all the mothers and fathers out there watch their siblings and their youngsters go and race motorcycles. I'm not strong enough to do it. People keep asking me, will my little son go racing? And I'll never stop him, but I just hope he just doesn't want to go racing. This is the nervous part. This is the time where those butterflies start playing a huge role in the tummy. This is the part where you've got to try and get yourself in that race mind. Like I said, even though it's in inverted commas fun, racing, there's always that seriousness. There's always that we are about to go on track and risk quite a lot and do 270 k's an hour and really put ourselves and everything at risk. Hello everybody that's come out to support, the great spectators that have come here to support. It really is great to see the grandstands packed here with people coming to enjoy the race action. If you want to watch the racing action live, you can go onto Facebook, get onto the Raceday Facebook page. I am going to go share it as we speak onto the Ride Fast Magazine Facebook page, and I'm pretty sure we'll have it on the Monaco Series page as well. So you can go there, catch up and watch it on your device and watch the racing action live, and not only hear me here at the track but also hear me just chewing your ear off. And you'll hear, if you comment, if you want to make a comment, there is the comment list there. I'm seeing it now. So if you want to put a comment there, I'll open it now and I'll reply to some of those comments. So if you've got any questions or anything that you want to know about what you're seeing or what you want to know or you want to get involved, just hit us up, send us a comment there and we'll do our best to answer it. I just want to share this quickly to the Ride Fast magazine. The greatest invention ever is Ride Fast. Just the oak that puts that magazine together is like a superhero. I don't know how he does it. It really is fantastic. But let me just share this. What can I put your live racing action? Can't spell, even though I'm an editor. Live race action now, check it out. So there we go, it's on the Ride Fast page, it's on the Raceday TV page, and it's on the Monaco Series page as well. So there we go, tension's really starting to build now. It's Battle of the Twins, first race of the season. Your last year champion there, that's Alan Holscher. A little bit further down than we would expect him to be. There's David Buckham. You could see plain red fairings on that machine because he had a big tumble here on Wednesday. So he's great job from David from RD Racing to get that machine ready for David Buckham to go and attack. He lines up a little bit further back there. David Buckham in 6th place. There is the Ducati South Africa World of Motorcycle sponsored machine. Sean Portman, my brother, in pole position. This is his first ever Battle of the Twins race. Very nervous because for the first time in a long time, Sean is that carrot that everyone's trying to beat. So he's feeling the pressure a little bit. I could see it in his eyes. I'm sure he's gone to that toilet about 100 times so far today. But let's see if those nerves can just settle a little bit and just enjoy himself out on the racetrack. That's what ultimately what it's all about. Brian Bontequin, and that is why he's worried, because Brian Bontequin every year just seems to step up his pace and just get faster and faster, no matter how old, no matter anything. And Brian is one of the fittest oaks in the world. If you look at his legs, you got to feel like there's some tree trunks missing out there, because he has just got calves for days on that man. One of the fittest riders in this entire field, in this entire series. So he's going to put a lot of pressure on Sean Portman. Thomas Brown recovering from his knee surgery he had last year. Former BOTS champion he's back on the 1299 V twin machine. So watch out for him. He's going to be a big contender. Peter Bosch just defies age. He's doing a Rossi up there in 5th place. So here we are under starters orders for the first time. This Sports Championship race is brought to you by World Motorcycles and Ducati South Africa. Terrible start for your pole man, Sean Portman. He's gone backwards now, has Sean. So, that's not the start that he wanted. He's got a lot of work to try and do now to get through the field. No warm-up lap for these riders. It's straight into racing conditions. So Portman already making a move on the inside. Yep, he's up into what is at 5th place now. So he's made up a couple of... one of the riders going straight. One of the riders running a little bit wide there. Couldn't quite see who that was. Was that potentially Peter Bosch that was running wide? But it is Brian Bontequin and Tommy Brown in 2nd place there. Little wheelie from the 1299 Panigale V2 machine. Just behind them as Portman managed to make it up into 3rd place. A terrible launch. He hasn't practiced the launch of that bike, and we were worried that he was going to struggle off the line, and that's exactly what he's done. So he's got a lot of work to do now to try and close down on the leading 3 riders. It does look like it's maybe Alan Holscher that's got a good start up into 3rd place as we focus on our leaders down that back straight for the first time in anger. And Tommy Brown making the switch from the V4 onto the 1299 Panigale and loving life back on that number 1 bike machine as he is putting the pressure on Brian. Sean Portman up into 3rd place. So your pole position man then, Sean Portman on the Ducati South Africa World of Motorcycles machine now, starting to make inroads. I think the nerves just getting a little bit better of him on the start there, because that was a terror. He went from pole position down into about 12th place and back to Boksburg there. So that was a terrible start from Sean, but starting to make inroads there. The bright white machine, you can't miss him in the sea of red that's out on track at the moment. So let's see what he can do. Just behind him, David Buchan, Chris Williams, Christo Rearders with a good start. Des Ackert, Mick Landy. That's a terrible start from Mick, but customary terrible start there from Mick. He comes fighting through the field as the race goes on. Kaz Hauser, Mo Mahope, our lady rider, on the 2nd of the Ducati South Africa World of Motorcycles machines there in 13th. Yaku Fissa just behind them. Down the back straight though for the first time. 260 k's plus an hour down that back straight as they head into that final chicane. Sean Portman closing onto the back end there of Tom Brown as he goes to chicane for the first time. But it is Brian Bontequin, and he'll cross the line for the first time in anger and lead this Battle of the Twins race. 2:03.6 lap time there from Brian Bontequin and Tom Brown in 2nd. Sean Portman, Alan Holscher, Chris Williams. What an impressive ride there from Chris Williams, the rider all the way from Cape Town, doing an impressive job there in 5th place. And it's Peter Bosch. Just behind them, Christo Rearders, David Buchan, Des Ackert and Kaz Hauser rounding out your top 10 as it sits at the moment. Portman now looking to pounce on Thomas Brown. Not going to make the move there. Let's see if he can do it going into turn number 4. Potential on the brakes. No, that V2, that V-twin 1299 machine of Thomas Brown, certainly not lacking any punch and horsepower compared to the big V4 Panigale V4 machines. So let's see if Portman can get the drive here out now onto that little short back straight and line up a move on the brakes. No, Tommy Brown really good out of there. So Brown's got the grip and the torque coming out of that long left-hander. Sean Portman not able to get close enough there. He closes in on the brakes. So we've got a 3-way battle at the front end of this field at the moment. Alan Holscher doing everything he can to potentially stick it in there. Portman's got to be careful though. That big Ducati Panigale 1100 that he's on does not like when riding with other bikes. That motor does spike up ever so slightly, so he's got to be careful of that. He's got to try and get out of the slipstream of those bikes, make the move, get to the front, get as much air breathing through that machine as he possibly can. And let's see, this is where he has a little bit turn of pace. Portman, he's able to light up that Panigale machine, or a little bit of a moment on the rear end there for Portman, trying to get on the gas early and hard on those Dunlop tires, and it just gave him a little bit of a spit. And how's your mother coming out that right-hander? So let's see, now we're going to get a true comparison. Panigale 1299 V-twin versus Panigale V4 1100, and here comes that 1100 of Sean Portman on the inside. Does he make the move? Yes, he does. So Portman then, for your pole position man, after that terrible start, clicks off another position and got himself up into 2nd place now, just behind now Brian Bontequin, and who's doing back-to-back races. Let me tell you, straight after this race he climbs into the Masters class. So it's a lot of racing in the saddle there for Brian Bontequin and for David Buchan, who's doing the same. Looks like a move on the inside potentially there for Alan Holscher. Not going to make it stick. Fastest lap of the race so far. Sean Portman, a 2:01 dead lap time there. 2:01.5 from Brian Bontequin. So those two big Panigale V4 machines starting to extend a little bit of a lead now at the front end of this race. Like I said, Portman's got to look at trying getting to the front end of this race as soon as possible. Get as much fresh air breathing through that big Ducati V4 as possible. Behind them, Chris Williams still doing an impressive job all the way from Cape Town up into 5th place ahead of Peter Bosch, Christo Rearders. David Buchan not where he wants to be, down there in 8th place, running about 2 seconds, 3 seconds off what we know he's capable of doing Des Eckert. Mick Landy now up into 10th place, so he's starting to make inroads, and so too is Sean Portman onto the back end of Brian Bontekonen. But I can tell you now, from experience, Brian Bontekonen is one of the hardest riders to pass in the world, never mind just in South African motorsport. That man has done endurance racing, enduro racing, MX racing, ZX10 Cup racing, Superbike racing. He's done whatever racing there is to do in South Africa. 2 and 4 wheels, Brian Bontekonen has done it. And like I said, he's got calves the size of my house. So fitness not a problem there for that man. So let's see what Sean Portman, who's not as fit, you could say, knowing my brother. But one thing I can tell you with my brother, he ran a lap of the track with me yesterday and he suffered, sweated like a piece of cheese on a windowsill. But put him on a motorcycle, that race face comes on, and even though when he gets off the track and it looks like he's going to have a heart attack, he has got that race fitness and he is able to churn out those laps, and very fast laps at it. Can he do it? Anything about Brian Bontekonen now down this back straight and onto the brakes? No, Brian Bontekonen got really good drive there, not allowing Portman to get close enough to make that move. Portman does close in, going into that right-hander. Can he potentially do anything coming onto the front straight and on the brakes going into turn 1? Onto the front straight once again. This is turning into a really good battle. Ooh, almost side by side as they come across the line there. Portman goes to the inside. Can he make it stick? No, Brian Bontekonen again just holding off the charge. Turn 2. Sean, my brother, was telling me that potentially turn 2 could be a place where he could put the move on, and there he goes! A brilliant move by Portman. I taught him that. I taught him how to do that. That's exactly what I taught him how to do. I said, you got to do this. Do what I do. Do what your brother would do. That's impressive riding there, up into 3rd place. Now let's see what he can do. It was a 2:03 lap time last lap around for him, a 2:06 for Brian Bontekonen, a 2:01.4, 2:01.5 for Thomas Brown and Holscher behind them. So let's see if Portman now can extend that lead. That Ducati will be feeling the heat. Sean Portman will be feeling the heat, but Brian Bontekonen, one thing he does really well is he's able to step up his pace at will and tag. So let's see if he can hold on to the back end of Portman now. Going into the slowest corner on this 4.5k Redstar track. Bontekonen closes a little bit up on the brakes, but you can see Sean just squares that corner off, gets brilliant drive coming out of there into the dog bone section now. This is where my brother is so good. He's a big boy, my brother, he really is, but his riding style, you see, climbs off that bike, scrapes those elbows, and that's where it really pays dividend in this dog bone section. Just keeps that momentum, keeps that flow, lets the bike go with his body position, and you can see he's extended 2 or 3 bike lengths there already. That is the strong point of that riding style, having that MotoGP hang-off Quartararo Marquez style of scraping your elbow and onto the back straight once again. So Portman, for the first time in this race so far, it's a long 8-lap race for these Battle of the Twin Riders. Let's see if he can hold on to that now. Down the back straight, Brian Bontekonen doing everything he can. Very late on the brakes there, Bontekonen. Oh, he closes up massively on the brakes there. Portman squares it up just a little bit more. How Brian Bontekonen squared that bike up, I don't know, because he was really, really late on the brakes there, doing everything he can to hold on to that big white Ducati Panigale machine, which Sean said on his interview earlier on 2 weeks ago was in 16 million pieces. That bike had been crashed properly here by our team. So to get that bike ready, Zocchi from World of Motorcycles and Ducati SA, a big hats off to Zocchi, because he really has pulled out a miracle there. That is why the bike's still plain white. Haven't had time to spray that machine, but make sure you catch a look out in Ride Fast magazine for the year. We'll be racing that bike back to back. So that's the exact machine I climb on a little bit later with the same tyres, everything, to race in the Superbike class. So that Ducati V4 is going to be pushed to the absolute limit throughout the season. There's no doubt about that. And those Dunlop tyres. So watch out for that. Brian Bontekonen now coming into his own. A 59.1 lap time there from Sean Portman. That's his fastest time on that bike so far this weekend. Brian Bontekonen, he's lining up a move on the inside, on the brakes. Is he going to make it stick? Yes, he does. So Bontekonen fighting back. Yellow flag somewhere there. Bontekonen backing out of that move, or does he? Portman, is he going to hold on to it? It's side by side. Elbow bashing as they come through there. Oh, Des Eckert's the rider that's gone down. So unfortunately, Des Eckert, another one of the V-twin riders, he has gone down and his name is dropping by the wayside. There he is, parked on the side. So maybe some kind of issues on that bike. I don't think he's crashed, but certainly issues on that machine. But out front, Brian Bontekonen fighting back now and not letting Sean Portman get too comfortable out front. For goodness sake, Brian, please just leave my brother alone. Please. You're stressing me out here big time. And my mom's here watching. You can't do that to my poor mother. Don't stress my mother out, please. She doesn't like us racing, so please, just let my brother go at the front and win. But it's a almighty battle going on there now. Portman fighting back down the back straight. Not close enough there. So Bontekonen, he's pulled out 2 or 3 bike lengths there. So maybe those overheating issues coming into play now for Portman. Maybe he's having to nurse that bike a little bit. That was the instruction from us, the team. If that bike does start getting to very warm temperatures, just to start short shifting and nurse that bike. And Brian Bontekonen with the extra bigger radiator. A lot of people are going to ask, but Brian's on the exact same machine. Brian's got the big extra radiator fitted on that machine. It's a 65 grand expense to get the big radiator fitted to that bike. So that will just cool his machine down a lot more. We unfortunately don't have that fitted to our bike. So overheating is a reality that we've got to deal with on that big booming 1100cc Ducati V4 that Sean Portman is on there in second place at the moment. 59.1 lap time from Brian Bontekonen last lap around. Sean Portman at 2:02. So certainly some kind of issues out there for Sean Portman at the moment, but he's just dropped off that pace. This is the battle for 3rd and 4th. So this is the final battle for the podium. Well picked up by our directors there, because that is starting to rage. Thomas Brown on his V-twin 1299 Panigale, coming under pressure from another V-twin there in the hands of Alan Holscher, your 2019 Battle of the Twins champion. So good little dice going on there between those two. Chris Williams, still another candidate for rider of the day there in 5th place. Peter Bosch, Christo Redas, David Buckham, Jaco Visser, and lady rider Mo Mahope there in 10th place. I see she's brought out in all the spectators there, so they've come out in full force to support the lady rider, sponsored by World of Motorcycles and Ducati South Africa. So watch out for Mo Mahope. 2:06.2 lap time from Mo Mahope. That is incredible stuff there. So I know Raymond from Pirelli Tyres is in the house, and there's potentially a sponsorship on the cards there for Mo Mahope. All I can say is, Raymond, stick some very grippy Pirelli tyres on that bike of Mo Mahope's, and we could be seeing her even closer to that top 5 battle. So let's look out for that. But at the moment, coming under massive pressure is Thomas Brown, multiple Battle of the Twins champion. This year he's got a lot more work to do with Brian Bontekonen and Alan Holscher and Sean Portman in the class. But he's already stepping it up. Here comes Alan Holscher on the inside. Is he going to make it stick? Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. Tommy Brown rails it around the outside and holds on to that 3rd place. So I'm not going to give that up without a fight. Tommy Brown still getting back to full racing fitness. Had a knee operation late last year, so that really has hampered his progress into this 2020 season. But doing a good job at holding on to it for now. Out front, it's still Brian Bontekonen ahead of Portman, who looks like he certainly has backed off the pace, nursing that bike home. Could be potentially overheating that machine. So Portman just holding on to that 2nd place for now, doing what needs to be done. It's a long championship, so there really is no need. You're not going to win the championship in this first race meeting. So Portman just playing the experience and the waiting game. Might get a little bit frustrated as Bontekonen gets held up by the back markers. That's going to help Portman now. Portman's going to be able to get the drive, and he'll get done with those back markers down the straight. So that'll help Portman close in on Brian Bontekonen. Back markers, a big factor in this race. So we're going to have to watch out for them. Let's look just a little bit further down. As I said, the big boss of Ducati South Africa, Jos Matthijssen, is on a Ducati Panigale V4 road machine in this class. He's in 18th place at the moment. 2:14.7 lap time there for Jos Matthijssen. So brilliant stuff there from the Ducati SA man. He's just behind Paul Kruger on the KTM 1290 Super Duke, so the naked bike. Just shows you can come bring any machine and come race in the Battle of the Twins. Like I said, Aprilia are back in the house with their new V4 Aprilia, but we'll let it come race in the Battle of the Twins class. It is a beautiful Italian machine, so let's hope they will see a beautiful Aprilia Superbike or one of their Tuono naked machines, because those are incredible motorcycles. Let's see and hope that we can have one coming to this championship soon. Here comes Portman down the back straight. He's a lot closer to Bontekonen this time. He's going to make a move on the inside. Does he click it off? Yes, he does. And he's got to get it done, because we are running out of laps now. So Portman, Bontekonen a little bit too tight there. He was on the curb. You don't want to be doing that too often around the Redstar track. Not as much grip on those curbs as on the tarmac, but Portman now has got himself back to the front, and with 1 lap remaining, yeah, we're on the last lap then. Portman has got to try and do everything he can now to close that gap. It is last lap time then, 1 lap to go. Here's my little China, my young fan. Great to see him. We need this guy on a bike, eh? We need him on a bike. Like thumbs up there from the dad. That's what I like to see. Great having our young spectators coming and watching motorcycle racing. Very excited, this young guy. Looks like he's going to be very fast. Looks like he doesn't sleep at night either. So no more energy, eh? It's water from now on. One rider, one man who's going to, I think, be needing energy right now is Sean Portman out front. Still coming under pressure from Brian Bontekonen, but Portman looks like he's pulling it out when it needs to at most. Did a 59.8 last lap around, a 2:01 dead there from Bontekonen, who he's fighting back. Bontekonen is not letting go of this. Portman, it's a little bit wide. Bontekonen squaring it up, trying to put it on the inside there. So Portman's got to go defensive here. That's all he can do, because Bontekonen is right on his tail, and Brian is one of those riders that makes a gap where there is no gap. So if you think you've closed the line, if you think you've gone defensive, Brian Bontekonen will just upset the apple cart and throw that big, beautiful Jaguar compressors Ducati Panigale V4 right on the inside, and he's under the wing of David from R&D Racing, so there's not much better when it comes to setup. And you can see that Brian Bontekonen has got the package here to challenge Sean Portman at the front end of this field. Onto the back straight now. This is where Bontekonen did it a couple of laps ago. There is Mr. Jos Matthijssen on his Ducati. He's in a good battle there. So that's a little bit further down. Onto the back straight now for the final time. Here comes Brian Bontekonen on the inside. They're going to go side by side. Bontekonen is going to hold the line. This is final lap time. Portman's going to close the line. Can he get it done? Yes, he does. Sean Portman closes the line, does not let Brian Bontekonen through. And Sean Portman through the final chicane. He's going to come across the line. Brilliant stuff from the young man. Sean Portman wins the race. Well done. Just holding off Brian Bontekonen there in second place. All this coverage of this class was brought to you by Walden Motorcycles and Ducati South Africa, and their rider, their sponsored rider, is just crossed the line and taken the win. I'm just happy he's crossed the line, to be honest, and I'm sure my mom is just happy that he has crossed the line. But brilliant stuff there from him. Third place goes to Alan Holscher. No, Tommy Brown. Looks like Tommy Brown has just held on to it. Brian Bontekonen on the final lap. Sean Portman a 58.5, Brian Bontekonen a 58.4 from the Battle of the Twins. This is supposed to be a chilled, gentle, cautious, fun racing class, and these guys are pulling out those times. That is ridiculous. Sean has used a lot of tyre, so thank you for that. I've got to climb on a bike now that has been pushed to the absolute limit for my Superbike race, so thank you very much for that, Sean. But that battle between Thomas Brown and Alan Holscher, just having a look there, 0.2 of a second separating those two riders. Christo Reeders and Peter Bosch in 5th place, 6th place Christo Reeders, Chris Williams in 7th. So the man from Cape Town just demoted a couple of spots on that final lap. David Buckham up into 8th place. Evert Stoffberg, the RSR man, there in 9th place. Mo Mahope, the lady rider on her Ducati South Africa World of Motorcycles machine, there in 10th place. Get some Pirellis on that tyre and we'll see her up there in top 5, no doubt about that. Kaz Hauser in 12th place, just behind Jaco Visser. Great having Jaco Visser coming out and racing with us on his new V4 machine. Paul Carstensen, Willie van Aswerken, he's just watched his daughter do the business in the 300s, and he's out there now in 14th place. Rainer Claessen's in 15th, Alan Barrett in 16th, just holding off the charge from Jos Matthijssen in 17th place. There's my mommy. Yeah, Shawnee did it. Yes, I taught him well. I was strict on him when he was a youngster. I was very strict on him. I pushed him hard, and that's why you see. Yes, you see what happens when you push him so hard. He wins races. Just behind them, Paul Kruger on the KTM there in 18th place. Gavin Arb in 20th. Great to have Gavin there, out there as well. Brandon Hellas in 21st place. Philippe Flashner, returning Philippe Flashner in 22nd. And Paulo Alves there in 23rd place. Oh, and that's Brian, the same boots as me. Yeah, just a little bit of confusion up here in the timekeeper's office because Brian, red kit with bright, what is this color called, by the way? What is this color called? Can I say that? My director's just given me, can I? Kapoen. Is that turquoise in Afrikaans or French or something? Okay, I won't just repeat what my director's just told me, but it's like turquoise. So it's turquoise, but it's very flash, put it that way. So I've got the same boots, Brian's got the same boots, so they were kind of thinking, how's Rob commentating and racing at the same time? But it wasn't. It was Brian Bontekonen who pushed my brother to the absolute limit. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm one relieved man because watching my brother and Brian, I'm going to murder Brian. I'm going to punch Brian in the face because he nearly gave me a heart attack here in the commentator booth. So brilliant so far. We've had Supersport 300, Street Bike class, and the Battle of the Twins so far. So we're going to carry on with today's racing action. Remember, keep locked into the live Facebook page. Share it as much as possible, please. We want to expose motorcycle racing as much as possible here in South Africa. So tell all your friends about it. Tell your rich company owners. Tell everyone about it. Let's just help build this thing. Let's make this. Let's bring motorcycle racing back to the good old days. I'm going to go through some comments quickly. So Mark van der Berg, hello Robert Portman. Mark is from GFP International, so if you need rear sets, any kind of special race parts for your bike, get hold of Alex van der Berg from GFP International. Remember that, GFP International, a big supporter of this racing. Karen Landy supporting her husband. Go #72 Karen. Karen, you'll be disappointed. Mick, that was terrible. Mick, come now. Come now. You're going to do better than that. Wayne van Tonda, Sean, a machine on the brakes. Yes, he is, Wayne. I taught him very well. Michael McDonald, awesome. Thanks for the live footage. Michael, thanks for tuning in. Vaughan Swanepoel, impressed. Great job, Rob. Thank you, Vaughan. Vaughan's been involved with motorcycle racing for so long. A big name in the industry. He's now with Haval Cars. So if you're looking for one of the best SUVs in the world, get hold of Vaughan Swanepoel or anyone at the Haval dealerships. Wayne van Tonda. Yes, Sean, what a move. I agree, Wayne. That's coming all the way from the UK, eh? Wayne van Tonda. So thanks for tuning in worldwide, eh? We're going international here. Mark van der Berg, Robert Portman, you cock funny. Thanks for that, man. I'm cock funny. At least I'm funny. Tuned in, Nabope Maleka. Thanks, Nabope, for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Wayne van Tonda. Yes, please. What a ride, Sean. Kenneth Portman. Well done, Sean. Great race. Everyone coming in there. Bring on the PE run. Robert Kendrick. Yeah, Robert, I agree with you. Bring on the PE run. One of the greatest circuits in South Africa. Aldo Scribanti, I love the place. There's one problem. I won't be here for the Aldo Scribanti race. But I have a really good excuse. I have a really good excuse for not being at the second round of the Monaco Series in PE. I will be at the opening round of the MotoGP Championship in Qatar to support my mate Brad Binder. So yeah, I do have a good excuse, but it was a real tie-up. It was go to MotoGP Qatar or race PE, and I promise you, I thought about it long and hard for a couple of days, but at the end of the day, it's MotoGP in Qatar. I've never been there before, so I wanted to go there. Let's have a look here. Rob Boyd, Shot 2, Ride Fast Rob, watching live. Hey Rob, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone tuning in so far. So like I said, if you've got any questions, post them up there. Let's try and answer as many questions as you can. If you need to know how babies are made, I can tell you how that's done, because I have 2 beautiful children myself. But if you have any motorcycle related questions or racing questions, please hit us up and we will try and answer them as best as possible. Gordon Richards, awesome racing, watching from Glasgow, UK. Who won the 300 race? Gordon, thank you so much for tuning in. The 300 race was spectacular. And remember, with the live coverage, you can always go back and watch this in the coming week on the Raceday page. So you're not gonna, this is not going to be live and then you can't watch it again. You can watch it. This is Henk. Come show. Henk, come stand here, my buddy. This is Henk. Okay, now Henk, kom hier so. Now Henk deserves, my bad, the biggest round of applause, because this man, along with Keith Buerta and his crew, have come here, and like I said, it's not about making money. They charged the absolute smallest price to be here. It's ridiculous what they charged. They shouldn't even be here. They can't even buy Coke. I'm going to buy them a Coke. Okay, I'm going to give him a piece of my mom's biltong now. But Henk, guys, thank you. Really, I want to just, if you were a hot blonde with big boobs, I'd French kiss you like crazy. But I'm not going to. You're a hairy white man. You're a hairy white Afrikaans man. So that is Henk from Raceday TV. To all the guys in the OB unit, Keith Buerta, Clifford Ogle, everyone, guys, I can't thank you guys enough. I'm going to cry. I'm not going to cry. I won't cry on live Facebook. I won't do it. So yeah, Gordon, it was awesome racing the Supersport 300s. Chris Wright just won it by 0.1 of a second over Nicole van Aswerken. So again, you can catch up with that racing action. You can actually rewind this live feed on Facebook if you want to watch that racing action from earlier on. Otherwise, just catch up with it later in the week. Sean Powell from IMI, Italian Motorcycle Importers, is watching live. So hello, Sean. Remember, it's Aprilia Motorcycle South Africa, Moto Guzzi South Africa, and of course the new range of Stahl Martin boots, road and racing boots. So they are at the what is it called again, Maserati dealership in Sandton. So if you want to go find out about a Moto Guzzi bike or an Aprilia bike or Stahl Martin boots, get hold of either Jonathan Isherwood or Sean Powell from Italian Motorcycle Importers and go check out their beautiful range of bikes and accessories there. So yeah, welcome Sean. A massive shout out to all the guys that have put the live streaming together. You are legends. That's from Sean Powell. Sean, I agree with you, but thanks so much, man. We need you here racing, Sean. You need to twist Jonathan's arm, and that beautiful 1100 RSV4 factory demo bike that you have needs to be on the grid here. You are more than capable, so I think. There we go, Wayne van Tonda just saying thank you, Henk and Raceday TV. So great to catch the racing. And that's really what it's about. Like I said, without these guys, taking their time out to come and help promote the racing. It really is just mind-blowing. So keep those comments coming in. Clifford Ogle is watching. How? He's got the easiest job in the world downstairs, if you can tune in and watch. Nice. So we've got our presenter downstairs. Clifford, he's going to be catching up with all the activities going on down in pit lane. He'll come and fill in for me when I go race in the Superbike class a little bit later. So big thanks to Clifford as well for taking time out of his busy schedule to help expose this and be one of our presenters. Now on the grid then for our Masters riders, Brian Bontequin. He's just come off that very impressive race in the Battle of the Twins, and this is brought to you by the Monaco Racing Series. And Brian's lined up straight from the bots race and straight onto this Masters grid to do battle with the likes of Johnny Cricker, Lawrence Barnhorst, Michael Barth, Leon Pretorius, Sean Peterson, Andre Fenter, Wayne Morgan, Roberto Yonka on his beautiful BMW, and just wait till you see what Bad Jonka's got to pull out for the next round. His beautiful brand new BMW S1000 RR machine is parked in the pits there, and that's going to be our front cover story for the next March issue of Ride Fast magazine. It's going to be a world exclusive. There is no machine that is going to be tricked out in World of Carbon bits like that BMW S1000 RR machine. Just behind him, Augustine Mtware, welcome return for him, Paul Carstensen and David Buckham. I don't think David has managed to get out in this Masters class. Maybe just some issues on that bike or not able to do it. But at the moment, it is Johnny Cricker on the big BMW S1000 RR, the World of Carbon sponsored machine. So if you're looking for any kind of carbon bits for your race bike or your road bike, look up World of Carbon, and they have got every single thing you can imagine in carbon fiber for your motorcycle. And he's being charged hard by Brian Bontequin. When I told you that Brian Bontequin was one of the fittest men in the world, I was not lying. He has just climbed off that epic battle with Sean Portman, and here he is on the grid, lining up now and racing it out, duking it out with that man out front, Johnny Cricker. Here we go, Rob Boyd. Hello, Ricky Marias. Yeah, I wish we could have Rick. Yeah, there we go, Ricky Marias tagging Sean Bester and Belinda in. So Rick, one of the the greatest technician in the country. I'll happily say that. Remember, they are out at Swartkops Raceway tomorrow for the first national of the season. Sheridan Marias is back in national superbike racing on that Kawasaki machine. Great to have them, and a brand new sponsor for them, HBC Radiomatic, sponsoring that team, which is Sheridan Marias and the superstar young rider that is Byron Vesta. So again, a big thank you to them as our Masters riders across the line for the first time in anger. A 2:01 dead lap time from Johnny Cricker from a standing start. Lap times are just ridiculous here today. I cannot believe it. Just testament to how brilliant the track conditions out there, and well done to Redstar Raceday for giving these riders this awesome track. Michael Barth there holding down third place ahead of Lawrence Barnhorst, Leon Pretorius, Sean Peterson, Andre Fenter, Roberto Yonka up into 9th ahead of Wayne Morgan, Augustine Mtware and Paul Carstensen in 11th place there. So Johnny Cricker holding it down for now, but he's coming under pressure, increasing pressure from Brian Bontequin. And Luca Jefferson, welcome Luca Jefferson, one of the biggest supporters of not only Ride Fast magazine but motorsport in South Africa, and the Binder brothers, of course. Sean for Mark, the rider that's going to be racing in the Bridgestone Superbike class tomorrow at Swartkops. He's going to come do a couple of Monaco races with us as well on the Honda CBR 1000 RR machine now, sponsored by Honda Centurion. So great having Honda South Africa and Honda Centurion back involved in national and Monaco series racing action. So well done. I've seen Mr. Rian Fourie from Honda South Africa walking around, so great having Honda back and involved. Clifford Ogan, I miss your beautiful face, Robert Portman. No, well, that's what happens. Everyone does. That's just how it is. Jared Schultz, our top international and local racer, tuned in now. He was here practicing, tuning some massive laps on his ASAP Racing Yamaha R6 machine. He'll be racing in the national race tomorrow, but his main focus on the 2020 season is racing overseas in the Spanish Supersport class. I think I stand to be corrected there, but another top youngster that we have going and racing overseas. Down the back straight, Johnny Cricker. Here comes Brian Bontequin and trying to pull the move that he pulled on Sean Portman. He's so late on the brakes there, is Brian Bontequin, and closes that gap, but not able to get quite close enough. Jessica Howden, one of our top lady riders, she's tuned in. Welcome, Jessica. Keith Buerta, hey bud, we are happy, you are happy. All for you, pow. No, Keith, really big pat on the back. Really impressed. Martinez Lohrings, the man from DRD Motorcycles Kawasaki, the dealership in Boksburg, he's tuned in. He's again put his money where his mouth is, and he's sponsoring Dion Nelson in the Superbike class coming up later. So another beautiful dealership you have got to visit if you're in the market for a new or used motorcycle or accessories. TRD Motorcycles, corner of Atlas Road and Northland Road in Boksburg, the greatest town in the entire world. Michael White, former South African Superbike champion. He's tuned in, so welcome, Michael. Such a pity this guy's not racing. And again, it just shows you the lack of support and sponsorship we have in this country, where we have a talent like Michael White sitting out racing, not only in South Africa but worldwide. Just shouldn't be happening. We should be throwing money at these guys instead of a cricket team that can't win anything. Christine Broadhunt, watching my husband racing from Reunion Island. Enjoy every minute. Well done to go with the best bots. Great, thank you so much, Christine in Reunion. And then Calvin, Edward, Ben Thomas, go Wayne Morgan. Luca Jefferson, we'll see you at the next round. Craig Heidemann, thanks for the live feed, Rob, just awesome. Michael Niemann, awesome stuff. Keith, I can watch now. Sheldon Schuster joining in. Sean Laverick, actually saw Sean Laverick a little bit earlier, so he's recovering obviously after he's racing. Or pity we don't actually have him racing here. Sean Laverick, the man from the Weasel Parts on his beautiful Petronas inspired Yamaha. I'm sure he'll be back soon. But for now, we're having a look at the race action out on track, and it is Johnny Cricker and Brian Bontequin, and 51 minute 58 lap times from these guys in the Masters class. So that is why we call them Masters, because the lap times these guys, it's just incredible stuff. Hard on the brakes there. Johnny Cricker gets the back end of that BMW all kinds of crossed up as he heads into that final chicane. So not holding anything back is Johnny Cricker as he's being chased down by Brian Bontequin, who's just... he's a phenomenon, Brian Bontequin. He's just climbed off 8 laps of hard racing in the Battle of the Twins, and here he is doing it once again in the Masters class. Behind them, Michael Barth doing an incredible job to hold down 3rd place, holding off the challenge of the Suzuki rider, Lorenz Barnhorst. Leon Pretorius on his BMW machine up there in 5th place. That's a brilliant ride there from Leon. Sean Peterson, he's just crossed the line there in 6th place. Andre Fenta is in a good battle with Bat Jonker. Wayne Morgan, shout out to Wayne Morgan. He's got some fans watching live on Facebook, so he's doing a good job there in 9th place. Augustine Mtwari in 10th, and Paul Carstensen rounding out your top 11 riders. Al Camino, looking forward to tomorrow, and twisting the throttle there, brilliant. Gareth Jackson tuning in, Action Jackson, so welcome Gareth. Greg Wannington, he's racing today, isn't he? I'm sure he's racing in the Superbike class with us, so how's it, Greg? I'll see you on the track a little bit later. Where are we now? Masters, so there's still 2 more classes before I've got to get out on the track. Brian Bontequin closing that gap down once again onto the back end of Johnny Cricker. So doing exactly what he kind of did in the bots race with Sean Portman, just applying that pressure and looking to make the move as quickly as possible. Like I said, not scared of getting those elbows out is Brian Bontequin, and 158.6, fastest lap of the race so far, last lap around there. So he's now right on the back end of Johnny Cricker. Cricker, again, no problem with fitness from him. He's the man that has the fitness center in Edenvale, Ultimate Fitness. So if you're looking to get race fit, you can get hold of Johnny Cricker, but he will destroy you. I can promise you, he will absolutely blitzum you in that gym, and he'll make you race MotoGP fit. You'll come out of that gym being MotoGP fit, I can promise you now, but you are going to be in for blood, sweat and tears. Greg Wannington, how's it? Rob Portman, how's it, Greg? Lekker. Keith Butter, guys, all please go share and watch party the stream. Yep, please, guys and girls, share this live coverage. We want it to go as viral as possible all around the world. We're already getting brilliant hits and brilliant coverage, but we want as much as we possibly can get. We want to showcase racing, and we obviously want to showcase what we can do to try and introduce new sponsors and get more money back into the sport of motorcycle racing, because that's one big factor. Oh, Brian Bontequin gone down. Brian Bontequin comes out of turn 1 and down he goes. Oh, so I'm trying to see if there's movement there from Brian. That was a big, looks like I don't know if he tucked the front or the rear came around. A little bit of movement there from Brian, so that's always good to see, but that is a big crash coming out of turn 1. I just wonder if bots and masters back-to-back was maybe just a little bit too much, not only for Brian, but also for the tires and the bike. And down he goes. Still not much movement there from Brian. Always a terrible sign. It's horrible to see your fellow rider just crashing out like that. Is really is not nice. So let's hope that it's not too serious there for Brian. Still no movement there. Let's get some marshals there as quickly as we can. Let's get the medics there as quickly as we can. Just waiting to see if we will get a red flag situation here now, with Brian being in the position that he is on track. Can't quite see if there is any red flags or anything, but certainly Brian Bontequin crashing out of that 2nd place. Just picked up 2nd place in the bots class. There is movement. Oh, there he is. He's up. So Brian is up. Like I said, one of the fittest, strongest guys in the world. So, oh, jeez, thank the Lord for that, to see Brian moving. That bike might be a little bit second-hand, but Brian, no, it looks like he is up and okay. But certainly, I'm pretty sure that might bring out a red flag with the ambulance parked where it is. Let's wait and see. Is it red flag? Is it red flag? No. Okay, so just a confirmation there from our timekeeper. It is no red flag. So the clerk of the course happy to continue with racing, happy to see that the rider is out and not in a massive dangerous position there. So just such a pity there for Brian, but just so grateful to see that he's moving once again. Let's hope he can get that bike fixed and ready for race number 2 of the Battle of the Twins and the Masters class. But that's our first real incident of the day so far. Jonathan then and Yvette leaving. Thank you so much for coming in. Let's get an Aprilia on the track, eh? Okay, lekker. We need a nice, beautiful Aprilia on the track. So let me see. That's yellow flags out then in turn 1. Yes, Jonathan, those are lekker Stahl Martin boots, eh? Yeah, those are very nice boots, my bud. Very nice. Stahl Martin, eh? Yes. Styling it out here at Redstar Raceway. A beautiful girl and a lekker pair of boots. Doesn't get any better than that, eh? Johnny Cricker out front, 158.2. The demise of Brian Bontequinen has promoted Michael Barth up into 2nd place. Lawrence Badenhorst is in 3rd. Leon Pretorius up into 4th place, I should say. The best ride we've seen come out of the BMW man. Sean Peterson in 5th. Andre Fente in 6th. Brilliant stuff there from the Lekker Racing man. Andre Fente is what? 95 years old in the shade. So that's a brilliant job there from Andre Fente in 6th place. A lot faster than his son will ever be. Take that, AJ Fente. Wayne Morgan in 7th place. Bad Jonker in 8th. Just wait until Bad gets that new BMW S1000RR M Sport version lit up in race trim. He'll be destroying everyone. Augustine Mtware, great return for him in 9th place. And then, of course, the demise of Brian Bontequinen there. He's at the back. And Paul Carstensen looks like he's circulating there in 11th place. But he'll be promoted up into 10th once he circulates the next lap around, I'm sure. So it's a lonely ride for Johnny Cricker at the front end of this Masters class. We are getting into his 3 laps to go, it says here on the screen. So Johnny Cricker doing and getting the job done at the front end for the World of Carbon sponsored BMW machine. It's a beautiful machine there as well. If you want to see some of the best carbon fiber work you've ever seen in your life, go check out the work that World of Carbon do. It really is impressive. Mass suits, if you walking around and you're seeing some riders in some very impressive custom suits. Mass, Keaton Murray is here from Mass Custom Suits. You'll see he's set up there just by the training center. So go check him out. They'll size you up. You can do a custom design and custom fit in your own leathers. So you'll see that there's just about every rider walking around in those custom made suits. And he is a great, it's a great product to have in, if you need a custom suit, go speak to Keaton Murray and get yourself a nice fresh look for the 2020 season, as Johnny Cricker has done with his custom mass suit that he's out front. A little bit of a movement there from Johnny Cricker on the rear tire. Plenty of ponies in the back or in the motor of that BMW S1000RR machine. And with the heat that's out there now, like I said, tires and machines, as well as the bodies and minds of these riders, are going to be taking an absolute battering. So it's all about keeping it nice and consistent, keeping it nice and checked, well out on track, and just hoping that fitness will hold out. Paul Carstensen, I just saw him there, so he still is circulating. That's putting him up into 10th place ahead of Brian Bontequinen after that big crash. But it is good to see that. Looks like Brian's not going to need any real medical attention, so let's hope that they can get that bike sorted and we can get Brian out for race number 2, because the race that he was putting on in the Battle of the Twins class and in the Masters, you really want to watch a guy like Brian Bontequinen. It's all action stuff there from him. So Brian, hope you get that bike sorted and out for race number 2. Just stop putting so much pressure on my brother, please. I'm having a heart attack here now. So 2 laps to go then in the Masters class. Let's have a see. Boyce and Ange, good luck. Augustine and Tuare, thank you for the wonderful coverage. Thank you so much for tuning in. Byron Wathqual is watching, so thanks Byron. Another one of those riders that will be racing in the Bridgestone Superbike or Bridgestone Challenge class. I'm not quite sure, but he'll be in action tomorrow at Swartkops Raceway. Yanni Kreiner from the Originales in Cape Town, so great having Yanni tuning in and watching all this live action. Christo Rieda is one of our bots riders. He's just tuning in now, so he's literally just climbed off the track, taken his leathers off, had a lekker sip of water or something, and he's tuned in. So how's it, Christo? Well done on your race, buddy. That was awesome stuff. The Battle of the Twins guys are superheroes, there's no doubt about that. There's a good little battle going on track here now. That is Augustine Mtware and Bert Jonker. So that's, in inverted commas, 2 stablemates in the Lekker Racing camp that are going to battle there. And Bad Jonker's got to have to work really hard on that BMW, that World of Carbon BMW machine of his. That's still the old gen. Like I said, he's still got the new gen coming. And he's going to have to work really, really hard to try and keep Augustin Ntwari behind him. A big shout out to Daniela Kirby, who's here from Beam Productions, the greatest photographers in the world. They always capture all the racing action, and those are the supporters of Ride Fast Magazine. So all the beautiful pictures you see in Ride Fast Magazine is courtesy of Beam Productions, and they are here once again to capture today's racing action as best as possible. So big thank you to them for coming out once again and supporting us. Check out their Facebook page, Beam Productions, and if you're looking for photographers to capture any kind of moment in your life, whether it be weddings, motorsport, anything, make sure you get hold of Beam Productions. So into the final stages then. It is the last lap time for our Masters riders. Hasn't been the most exciting race, to be honest, especially with the demise of Brian Bontequinen, but the battle here, what is this for, second? No, that's the Bad Jonker, Augustin Ntwari battle a little bit further down. That is for 8th and 9th place. So that's a good little battle going on. Just behind Andre Venter. Good ride there from Andre, holding down 6th place. Ntwari is starting to put big pressure now on Bad Jonker. So let's see, it's going to be BMW Power versus Yamaha R1 Power. Andre Labsha, another one of our top photographers here in South African motorsport. He's just tuned into the live feed, so welcome Andre. He goes all around the world. He captures Moto America and MotoGP overseas as well. So check out his Facebook page for some beautiful pictures from all around the world, basically. I'm just going to catch up with our leader, Johnny Cricker. He should be coming almost down the back straight any second now. So we should be able to catch up with him onto the highway straight any second now, because he's miles ahead of anyone else. Michael Barth doing a brilliant job at holding on to 2nd place, and a 59.4 lap time from Michael Barth. So that's really good going there from him. This should be Johnny Cricker any second now, coming onto the highway straight. Is that him? Not quite sure. No, that's Andre Venter. That's come onto the back straight now. Johnny Cricker looks like he has crossed the line. Yeah, so we've just missed our race leader. In fact, so he's too fast, eh? Yes, these Masters Oaks are too fast. Johnny Cricker has crossed the line then in 1st place. There he is. No, that's him. That's him. He's won the race, so he's on his cool-down lap. Michael Barth picks up 2nd place. Lawrence Badenhorst in 3rd. Leon Pretorius in 4th. Sean Peterson in 5th. Andre Venter with a brilliant 6th as he comes across the line. We wait now. Wayne Morgan, you've got a lot of people watching on live Facebook land. So bring it home, Wayne. Let's see what he can do. Yes, he does in 7th place. Brilliant stuff there from Wayne. Bad Jonker, is he going to hold up the challenge from Augustine? Yes, he does. Only just, though, at the line. Another almost photos finish there between Bad Jonker and Augustine Ntwari, and Paul Carstensen will round up your top 10 riders in the Masters class there. So that brings an end to pretty much the first half of racing action for today. Up next, we have the Classics, the Formula 1 Classics riders. Behind them, we have the Formula 2 Classic riders. Then it's the 1000cc and 600 class, where I'll step down and do my bit of racing for the day. Then it's the Historic Motorcycles and the Ducati Owners Club South Africa for their track session, their 15-minute track session. So that'll be coming up in a couple of minutes' time. So let's just catch up then with what's about to happen. The Classics F1 class is about to go out, and a big supporter of the Classic series is KB Battery Suppliers, and they've got a stand set up here. So Dean is in the house with KB Battery Suppliers. So if you need any kind of battery support or advice, make sure you get down there. They sort out batteries for cars, trucks, solar panels, bikes, golf carts, lithium, and they have LED lights available. So if you need anything, any kind of advice or anything, big shout out to KB Batteries for all their support in the Classic class, which is about to come out on track now for the first time. And let me tell you, don't be fooled by the title of Classics, because these riders do not hold back. These bikes and riders don't hold back. We've got AJ Fenter, we've got Ian Simpson, and of course we have the mighty Steve Parrish as well, about to head out on the Redstar track. So massive international flavor right here at round 1 of the Monaco series. So just had a little bite of my mom's biltong here as we have a little bit of a break before we get our classic riders out on track for the first time. You can see great conditions once again here at Redstar Raceway. The pits are buzzing, the grandstands are buzzing, everything is absolutely just buzzing right here. Right, so we do have pit lane open then for our Classics F1 riders. So Classic F1 riders, please, if you could get yourself lined up, pit lane is open. We want to get you out on track as quickly as possible so we can get the day's racing action going nice and smoothly. And then straight after them will be the Classics F2 and F3. So F3 is the 2 strokes that'll be combined with the F2 class. So like I said, really it's a but to see all those beautiful classic machines in the back of the pit lane. It's great having them part and parcel of the Monaco series, and really, really impressed to have and proud to have the Dunlop TT series joining us as part of the Monaco series. It's absolutely phenomenal and just a testament to how the Monaco series has grown over the past year. Remember, Monaco series, this is coming into the 2nd year only, so still new times here for us in the Monaco series, and it's no doubt only going to get bigger and better as the years go on. We've committed to the next 3 years at least in the Monaco series, so for the next 3 years you will be guaranteed to have Monaco series racing. Eugene Liebenberg, hello Eugene, he's just come, another one of our top photographers in South African motorsport, so welcome to you. Eugene, if you get onto his Facebook page, you'll see some beautiful photos on his Facebook page as well. Got some beautiful photos of some of those butterflies migrating over last week. We're getting better photos now of motorcycles racing around the Redstar track. There we go, our classic F1 riders then starting to head out of pit lane. Watch out for last year's champion, Paul Jacobs. Really one of the top riders. Jaco Koos as well. Watch out for Jaco Koos, literally half the man he used to be compared to last year. A shredded weight, and he's looking like a Tour de France cyclist in actual fact. Eugene Liebenberg, here he is. Hello Eugene, welcome. He's brought his nice big camera. Oh, everyone's coming out. Yes, everyone's coming out of the woodwork here to say how's it. It's brilliant to have everyone coming to support South African motorsport racing, and it really is a truly great sight. I haven't seen it in a very long time. Last year's Monaco series we started seeing it progress and get bigger and bigger, and today is just phenomenal. Over 150 or 160 entries in all the categories, and the crowds are starting to flock in by the numbers. So Redstar Raceway is the place to be. If you couldn't be here, well guess what, we've got you covered. Raceday TV is here for the 2020 season, and we are going to bring you as much of the live racing coverage as we possibly can on the Raceday platform. We've shared it on the Ride Fast Magazine Sport Bike page, and we've got it going out on the Monaco page. And please, everyone watching out in live land, just share it. Just share, like, share. Let's get it out to as many people and potential sponsors as we possibly can. Let's get some money going into the sport. Let's start supporting some of our top young riders. Let's start supporting some of those riders that have been supporting the sport from day one. Let's support the other companies that have supported our racing series, and let's just support this amazing race series, and let's support Raceday TV, who with a little bit extra money, can you imagine what they can do if they're doing this on literally breadcrumbs? Imagine what they could do with loaves and loaves of bread. Breadcrumbs. I did say that terribly. It did come out a bit wrong. No, it did come out wrong. No, I won't let it come out again. Yes, I got a sharp director. Hey? He's on it. I think he should be on the microphone here rather than me. Yeah, no, but it's not an easy job, trying to entertain everyone. Now I'm trying to get my mind ready to go and tackle these superbike oaks that are just relentless in their lap times. Like, I was so impressed with my lap time at a 57 this morning in qualifying. I was like, yes, that's like a fast day. Meanwhile, I'm 8th on the grid behind guys doing 53s and 54s. So yeah, let's see what I can do. Let's hope I can get a slightly better start than my brother did in the Battle of the Twins class. There, hey, Les from Medar's in the house, Graham from Medar's in the house. So great to see our ZX10 Cup champion from last year coming to watch some proper motorcycle racing action. He'll be out at Swartkops Raceway tomorrow racing in the ZX10 Cup class. So yeah, we got all kinds of top names and historic names in South African motorcycle racing and around the world. Like I said, with Steve Parrish here coming to race in the Dunlop SATT Classic categories. So it really is just a day catering for everyone. We've got the Supersport 300 machines for the youngsters, right up to the classic bikes that you're about to see race in anger for the first time today. This is the Formula 1 class. Straight after them, we've got the F2 and F3 classes. Then it's the 600 and 1000cc Superbike and Supersport class combined. And then followed by that, we have the Historic Motorcycle Group and the Ducati Owners Club South Africa. Right, so it's a little bit of a correction with the sponsor of the Classics. It's actually King Bat. I said it was KB Batteries. It's actually King Bat battery suppliers. So like I said, they've got a stand set up just a little bit at the back there by all the classic bikes. So make sure, please, please, please support those that support motorcycle racing, please. So King Bat are in the house, battery suppliers. Go chat to them about anything you could possibly want to ask. So we are about to get under racing action for the first time today in the Classics class, and it does look like it's AJ Venter on pole position. Second place is Jaco Koos. Ian Simpson, the Scottish Thunder, the Scottish sensation, I should say. Looks like he's a little bit back there in third place. Paul Jacobs, your last year's champion, he lines up on the second row there in fourth. James Barson, great to have him returning to racing on a competitive bike in fifth place, I should say. Leon van der Berg on his beautiful machine in sixth place. Timo Monat, Howard Shelby, Adrian McCarthy, Jonathan Powles, Etienne Lowe, Gordon Grigor, Andre Venter. That's brilliant. Just climbed off the Masters into the Classics. Bruce Coburn, Ewout Pienaar, Robert Burns, Alan Duffus, Donny van Sant, Dudley Miller, Mike Albrecht, Roberto Janssen van Regen, Mike Mexel, Dennis Kennedy, and Kevin Steele. Your 24 riders in this F1 class about to do battle for the first time. You can see we are under starters orders. We're going to wait for that red flag just to move away, and we'll be under starters then for the Classics F1. Like I said, if you're thinking you're going to see old men ride around slowly, you are about to see some of the best racing action and some of the fastest lap times you are ever likely to see. It looks like a problem maybe for one of the bikes, bike number 21. Is it Gordon Grigor? So Gordon's got some kind of problem on his Suzuki machine. He's going to have to pull off. So unfortunately for the man that was lined up in 12th position, and he's going to have to just watch the rest of his competitors steam off while he tries and gets that bike sorted. And this action is proudly brought to you by the South African Classic TT, which is sponsored by Dunlop. So big thank you to Dunlop and the Classic TT Club for bringing us all this racing action. Heading into turn one, just trying to see, is it Ian Simpson on the inside? It looks like AJ Venter maybe has railed it around the outside. So let's try and see as they head into turn two. It does look like it is AJ Venter. Jaco Koos there in second place. Looks like James Barson with a good start up into third ahead of Ian Simpson. Simpson fighting back on the inside, shoves it on the inside. Can't quite hold the line though. He runs wide and Barson comes back past. And here comes Paul Jacobs now mounting a charge on the inside of Simpson. So not the best start there for Ian Simpson, the Scottish rider. He's dropping a couple of positions there. AJ Venter out front. He's going to look and try and extend that lead over Jaco Koos. We know how fast Jaco Koos is on that classic machine of his, so he'll be looking just to get onto the back end of AJ Venter and make a race of it out front as they head down into the 90-degree hairpin for the first time. Leon van der Berg up into 6th place ahead of Howard Selby, Timo Monat, Etienne Lowe, Andre Venter there in 10th, Jonathan Powles in 11th, Ewout Pienaar in 12th, Mike Albrecht in 13th, and Robert Burns 15th, Alan Duffus in the 15th and final points scoring position there. Into the dog bone section for the first time then. AJ Venter has done a gazillion laps around Redstar. He is the Redstar. Oh, looks like Jaco Koos has gone down. Our second place rider has gone down, or something's happened, because Jaco Koos is out of the picture. I think Jaco Koos has crashed out. Let's pan. Yes, there he is. You can see a perfect shot there of Jaco Koos just crashing out. So we're going to pan to, there he is, Jaco Koos down and out of this race. So maybe just not enough heat in those Dunlop tires just yet as he flicked it into the dog bone left-hander for the first time in anger, and down he goes. He can't get that bike restarted. So that is pretty much left now AJ Venter out at the front end of this field. He's got a massive lead now over, looks like James Barson, Ian Simpson and Paul Jacobs sorting themselves out for those final podium positions. First time in anger though. That beautiful screaming machine in the hands of AJ Venter across the line at 202.5 from a standing start on a classic machine on those Dunlop D213 tires. Just testament to how good these bikes are, the riders are, and those Dunlop D213 tires are. Those lap times being set is just absolutely ridiculous. Ian Simpson, he's got himself up into second place. Third place is all about Paul Jacobs. Leon van der Berg up into fourth place now ahead of James Barson. So James Barson dropping down a couple of positions after his really good start. Howard Selby, Timo Monat just ahead of Etienne Lowe. Andre Venter now up into 9th place ahead of Evo Pina, who's rounding out that top 10 position. Up then with that battle for second place, then the battle between Simpson. Paul Jacobs trying to do everything he can to hang on to the Scotsman, not quite close enough to try and make any kind of charge at the moment. Simpson will be kicking himself for not getting the start that he wanted. Dropped down into about 5th place, but he's fought back up into 2nd, so it's a charge back through the field from the Scottish rider. Don't think he's going to have much of an answer to AJ Venter at the front end of this race. Venter just extending that lead. It's going to be interesting to see now, first lap in full anger, what kind of lap times AJ Venter is pulling out on that Formula 1 Classic machine. There's a beautiful shot of Ian Simpson, big name in motorsport worldwide. The Scotsman, always great having him come out to compete in the SATT Classic Series. Of course, always been supported by Dunlop South Africa. Simpson across the line, Paul Jacobs across the line, a 2:06 lap time from AJ Venter out front. That is just ridiculous on that machine. It really is. James Barson, he's down in 5th place. He's in a good battle there with Leon van der Berg, so whatever mistake he's made, James Barson is starting to close back in on the back end of Leon van der Berg and mount a serious challenge there. Howard Selby holding down 6th ahead of Timo Monat in 7th, Etienne Lowe in 8th, Andre Venter in 9th, Jonathan Pals in 10th place ahead of Adrian McCarthy. Alan Duffus now in 12th place, so he's made up a couple of positions ahead of Gary Edwards. Robert Burns, Donny van Sant in 15th place, and Evo Pina looks like he's had some problems. Bike number 6 just dropping down the timing monitor now, so not too sure what's happened to Evo, but he is out of this race. Yeah, sorry if you can hear some chewing in the background. It's me munching on some biltong here. I just try and catch my breath from the racing action we've had so far. It has been absolutely thrilling. A little bit quiet, we'll call it, in this F1 TT, and that's because of that man out front, AJ Venter, just doing what AJ Venter does so well around this Redstar Raceway track, and that is get himself to the front and extend that lead. He'll have a 1-class break, and then he'll head up in pole position in the 600 Supersport and 1000cc Superbike class, which I'll also be racing in. That's coming up straight after the F2 and F3 classic categories. And then, like I said, rounding out the first bit of track action for the day will be the historic motorcycles and the Ducati Owners Club South Africa class, or for their track session, I should say. Is just dominating at the front of this field. He has just cleared out at the front, a 59.8 lap time there from him. Ian Simpson in 2nd place at 2:02.4, so it's really a good pace there from Ian Simpson. Paul Jacobs at 2:04.5, Leon van der Berg 2:08.2, and I'm just trying to see what has happened to James Barson. He's dropped down into 8th place now, so a couple of mistakes coming out of James Barson. Andre Venter, looks like his name is also maybe just dropping down the monitor there, so not too sure what's happened to Andre out on track. But while his name is dropping down, his son at the front is just getting faster and faster. That is 2nd place man Ian Simpson, all the way from Scotland, holding down that 2nd place. Also a lonely ride there for Ian. Lonely ride for Jacobs there in 3rd place as well. Leon van der Berg and Howard Selby just behind them. Timo Monnet now promoted up into 6th place for the demise of a couple of riders just ahead of them. Jonathan Pals, Alan Duffus, they're a little bit further back. Can we maybe see if Clifford can catch up with Brian Bontequin down in pits and see if he's okay after his crash or whatever? Up the long highway, back straight then. And that was a good shot of Paul Jacobs, your last year's champion in the F1 category, coming up the back straight. Then you can see the massive gap between all the riders all the way through the field. That is Leon van der Berg, and you can see just how hot it is here at the track. You can see that heat just pouring off the track surface there. It really is absolutely belting. I haven't really felt it myself personally yet because I've been in this nice beautiful commentary box with aircon, but I can just see some very red bodies and faces outside, and I can see some very tired looking bikes and riders indeed. So really testing conditions here at Redstar Raceway for both rider and machine. AJ Fenter, he's not feeling the heat at all at the front end of this field. Just pushing out those lap times, just extending that lead with every passing lap over Ian Simpson and Paul Jacobs. There's not really any kind of battle happening up inside the top 6-7. There's a good battle a little bit further down. Jonathan Pals, he's just crossed the line now. Alan Duffus not too far behind him. And Robert Burns as well. A little bit of a gap there. Gary Edwards, Donnie van Sant, I should say. And Gordon Grigor. Looks like Gordon has got back out on track after those problems at the start line. So he's coming through the field here now, is Gordon. So it's great to see there. Dudley Miller, Roberto Janssen van Rensburg, Mike Albright. A couple of riders have fallen out of this race. So the big field that we had of 25 plus riders has been scaled down to about 17 or 18 riders. So again, just especially these classic bikes, this heat and these track conditions would take massive strain on those motors and those old school classic machines. As here comes our leading man, that is AJ Fenter down the straight once again, hard on the brakes, bangs it down. No electronics on that machine, no quick shifter or auto blip on that motorcycle as he bangs it down into that final chicane and makes his way through onto the front straight and completes another lap in anger. There will be 3 laps to go as AJ crosses the line now. So 3 more laps for these riders, or for AJ at the moment. It's still a long way before the rest of the field cross the line and make it 3 laps to go for themselves. But Fenter showing just how well he can get any motorcycle around this Redstar Raceway. Just put him on any bike and he was able to make it work around Redstar. Just try and follow those lines. If you're looking for some key points in that, just have a look at the coverage we're bringing of AJ. He got the perfect line around the Redstar track. You can see he goes from curb to curb, from left to right, right to left, hugs that inside curb, not wanting to add too much track on. It's all about cutting the corners as much as possible, cutting and making the track as short as possible. A short track equals fast lap time. So it's exactly what AJ is doing at the front end of this field. And while he's doing that, he's just extending that lead over the likes of Ian Simpson, holding down that 2nd place. Paul Jacobs, your champion from last year, doing a good job at holding down 3rd, but he won't be too happy with the amount of pace that Ian has ahead of him. He's not quite on that same kind of pace. No one's got an answer for AJ Fenter at the front end, so no one's really looking at that. Through the dog bone section goes AJ Fenter. You can see the lean angle he's able to get on that classic machine. Those are Dunlop D213 tyres, so the same tyres that a lot of the riders are running here today, and certainly the tyres that we are running on our Ducati V4 race bike. And kind of chose those tyres because it's a tyre that offers massive amounts of grip but with longevity as well. So that is why it was our choice of tyres for our racing season this year. So great, just having one of the 16 million Moolmans that are in this country come and say hello in a nice Petronas Yamaha Fabio Quartararo shirt. Something tells me she likes skinny Frenchmen on Yamahas. Doing a Quartararo out on the track at the moment. AJ Fenter just dominating this race at the front end. Couple of laps remaining now, 2 laps to go then in this F1 class of the Classics. Remember, these guys and girls will head straight off to the East London Grand Prix circuit next weekend for the second round of the SA Classic, sponsored by Dunlop Tyres, the TT Classic. And so East London, always a great place to go to, always hosted really well by the Motorsport down there. So look forward to going down there. It's also a Monaco supported series, so it's not an actual round of the Monaco Championship, but it is supported by Monaco. So hopefully we'll see a couple of the guys racing here today, heading off down to East London next weekend to do some riding around the fastest circuit in the land. But for now, AJ Fenter is going to be coming into some back markers in a couple of corners time, so that always throws up a little bit of a curveball, but with a massive amount of international experience that AJ Fenter has, pretty sure he'll make quick and easy work of that. So catching up then, you'll see it on your timing monitors there. It says Lachlan McClure at the front end of the field, but it's actually AJ Fenter. Likes to put all kinds of funny names on his entry form, does AJ. Ian Simpson there in second place, Paul Jacobs in third, Leon van der Berg there in fourth, James Barson holding down fifth, Etienne Lowe is in sixth place, Timo Monnet in seventh, Adrian McCarthy up into 8th place ahead of Howard Selby, Jonathan Powles, Alan Duffus, Robert Burns, Gary Edwards in 13th, Gordon Grigor, good recovery ride up inside the top 15, so good, some good championship points there for him. Just ahead of Donny van Sant in 15th, Dudley Miller, Roberto Janssen van Rensburg, Mike Olbro and Kevin Steele, your top 19 riders on the grid. Unfortunately, Andre Fenter, Evo Pino, they've come into the pits with maybe some kind of technical issues on their bike, and early second place man Yakuko is crashing out on that opening lap. So let's hope that Yaku can sort that bike out, get it fixed. Oh, great to see some Silkeleen and Fuchs sponsored youngsters coming here. Hello guys and girls, with their beautiful Silkeleen and Fuchs caps on. So another big sponsor of the Munro Racing team, supporting South African motorcycle racing, is Silkeleen and Fuchs, so that's great to see there. AJ Fenton then round the long left-hander on his final lap then of asking. Drop the lap times down into the 202.7 bracket there. That last lap, you can see him just sitting up, saving that energy, because he knows he's got to race me in a couple of races time, and that's not an easy thing to do. I'm joking, it is, especially when he's doing a 53.7 and I'm doing a 57.9. But let's see what happens. It's going to be a long 10-lap race, but excited to do it on our beautiful Ducati Panigale V4 machine that just wants to tear my arms off at every chance it can possibly get. So let's see, the Superbike and 600 race is going to be action-packed, I can promise you, because there is, like I said, there's some top international and national flavor in that race, and the lap times are just ridiculous considering we're at a Monaco series race. So that's world-class stuff going to come out of that class. So make sure you watch that with eyes wide open, because it's going to be intense racing action coming out of that class. Just trying to have a look. See a little bit further down here. Checkered flag is coming out then. AJ Fenter through the final chicane for the final time. It's a start to finish victory for AJ Fenter. Doing it once again here at Redstar Raceway. I could see baby AJ Fenter there giving his dad thumbs up. Hello Fenters. And yeah, we've got another future Fenter star coming. Yeah, he's already on his little balance bike. So just when you think you're getting rid of the Fenters, just more and more, they just never. So the final results then as they come across the line, we're still waiting for some of the riders. That is the dominance that was AJ Fenter. Paul Jacobs holding on to second, so what has happened to Ian Simpson? That is the big question now. James Barson comes across the line in third. Leon van der Berg in 4th. Ian Simpson's name is tumbling down the timing monitor, so not too sure what's happened to the Scotsman. We'll have to try and see. Here over the clerk of the course's monitor, something being said in the walkie-talkie, so not too sure if some of the marshals trying to tell them something's happened. There's baby AJ with his helmet on and his New Balance bike. So if you see a very fast Fenter riding around in the pits, it's not AJ Fenter, it's baby AJ Fenter. So while the rest of our classic riders come across the line, let's have a look and see. Let's catch up with some comments on Facebook. Let me just load it up. Let's see what is happening here. Raceday is live. I like that the first thing I pop up and see is Raceday is live. Bert Jonker from World of Carbon has come here after his tough race in the Masters. But that's only going to get easier when he gets that beautiful new BMW out. Then there's going to be cock. Then there's going to be cock when that new BMW comes to play. Let's have a look, catch up with some comments here. Gordon Richards, you getting old, Bobby Idle. Yeah, thanks for that, Gordon. I appreciate that. Very nice comment to make. How do you delete a comment on Facebook? That's what I want to know. Donovan Nietling is watching. Bernard van den Doel. Well done, AJ. Yes, well done indeed, AJ. Craig Hudeman, Peter Greer, Eric van der Blank. So he's tagging some friends in. It's always great to see. As our classic riders come into pit lane now. That is the F1 classic class done and dusted. Up next will be the F2 and F3 combined class. So make sure you stick around for that. And while we wait for that, let's see if we can maybe get Clifford Ogle to catch up with some of the riders down in pit lane. I'm trying to hear if he can catch up with Brian Bontequin, because I want to see how Brian is after that crash and see if everything's okay and if we will be seeing him head out on track in the next Bots and Masters race. So we are just struggling with a link to our man down in pit lane. So as soon as we get that up and running again, we will cross over to Clifford to catch up with some riders. But actually, there's a lot of beautiful women here today. So Clifford, forget about the riders, ugly, stinky men. Let's find some nice, beautiful women to talk to. That's always nice. As I have a sip of some nice water. That is Jaco Goos's bike being loaded up on the trailer. So obviously some problem there for Jaco that he couldn't get that bike back to pits. So he's going to have to sort that bike out now in between races. Okay, don't go live on my face because I'm busy chowing a banana now. There's spectators having a nice chow as well. Beautiful canteen here. So those spectators have taken full advantage of the canteen we got here. See, it's a great shot. The grandstands to my left and my right are absolutely jam-packed. So that is just always a great sight to see in South African motorsport. Night come out shot there from our director. Doing a brilliant job in the OB van is the Raceday crew. Well done. But there's a good shot. So that's to the left of me. If you go right, in the middle there, there's a timing, or the big main building. I'm sitting in there, busy bringing you all the race action. There we go. Keep panning right, pan right, pan right, pan right, pan right. In that glass building right there is where I'm sitting. Over the bridge, that's you go. Over the bridge that goes there, that's where I'm sitting. And then to the right is another grandstand that is nice and packed with more spectators. Like I said, beautiful, perfect spot, nice and shaded. And you can see up to about 90% of the track from there as well. So Really is a great place to come and watch. There is our Classics Formula 2 and F3 riders lining up at pit exit. So you're going to hear some two-strokes. Well, you might hear some two-strokes out on track, and unlike me, you're not going to smell the two-strokes if you're out in live Facebook land. But it's always a nice trip down memory lane, smelling those two-stroke machines riding around a racetrack. So those are about to head out on track now. And then remember, I'll probably leave you maybe halfway through the race to head down to get ready for my superbike race. That'll be coming up straight after this. So Cliffy Ogle, if you can get yourself ready halfway through this, or a little bit less than halfway through this F2 and F3 race, come and take over from me, and I can go head down, put my helmet on, my beautiful Scorpion helmet on, get all suited up, and I won't have time quite to run to the bathroom and get down there. No, during this race. I'm up after this race, so Clifford's going to come and catch up during this race with you. I'll try and squeeze in a quick visit to the bathroom, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I might soil myself on the bike while I'm racing, if anything happens. It is, yeah, my undies are used to having big brown marks in them, so it weighs like a surfer, yeah, my director. Nice, like a surfer. But yeah, let's, the butterflies are starting to hit in my stomach. Here we go, some guys from Michelin, South Africa, also in the house, from Autocycle Centre. Like I said, a big supporter of a lot of riders here in the racing series here. I think we need to get a mic to my director. We really do. Because he's got some lekker chips coming at you. I just took another bite of my banana, so that's why I sound all funny now. But there we go, our F2 and F3 riders combined now heading out. This is all part and parcel of the classic TT series that happens every year and goes. The last couple of years they've been going to Swartkorps, East London and Cape Town. This year it's part of Monaco, East London, and I think they will go to Cape Town as well. So let's wait and see. They, of course, Dunlop, the title sponsor of this and the F1 category that you just watched. So the green flags from the marshals just telling the riders that track conditions are all okay for now. So we'll get them lined up and under racing orders in a couple of minutes' time. I just saw a spectator walking around with a Man U shirt on. Now that is a smart man. Not at the moment. Being a Man U fan, I will admit, not at the moment, but it's a smart man. It's a very clever man right there. So here we go. Our Classics then making it around. Getting as much heat as they possibly can into those Dunlop D213 tyres. Line up on the grid. It does take them a little bit longer than like the 1000 and the 600cc class you're going to see coming up next. But nevertheless, it's been such a great introduction having the Classic riders join the Monaco series. They joined us full-time last year and they come strong, and they come, what, 50 or 60 entrants strong, so they really do bring it and fill up the grids, and it's great having them. So we just had a question now, how much are these bikes worth? There's some real masterpieces that are actually being ridden around that a lot of people would cry seeing not in a museum and being ridden around, but anywhere I would say from the 150,000 bracket to the potentially $500,000 bracket, because of just the stature of the bike. Oh, there's one of them. There's a Katana getting a little bit out of shape going into the final chicane. So like some of those Katanas, I mean, there's one being raced, but those are slowly but surely becoming like iconic machines and like real collector's pieces. So the potential worth of those bikes just could go up to 600,000-700,000 rand. So it really is a lot of money being put on show here. Like I said, some classic collectors will be looking at this and saying, how could you possibly be riding those masterpieces around a track? But here they are anyway. Yeah, they're fully modified, so like that Katana will be quite a lot different to what it came off the showroom floor. These bikes not as modified as the F1s you've just seen, like that bike AJ Fenter was on at the front end. That's our old GSXR Slingshot, and that's got a much better set of forks in, much better rear shock in. They play around with rake angles, they play around with frame, but it's pretty much the same motor, but it has been modified in that. But a lot of chassis work goes into those bikes to There's no ways AJ Fenton, no, I don't care what tyres or how talented you are, to do 159s around Redstar without a modified chassis of some sort. No. And like I said, these things don't hang around. They're pushing out about 150 horsepower in those classic motors. So yeah, like I said, it's got the tagline of classics, but they are far from just old men riding around on old bikes, is what you would think when you hear classics. But it's some fast. It is older riders. There's not youngsters on these motorbikes. It's elder statesmen. I mean, some of them are into their 60s, potentially even into their 70s. Their bikes are, there's different rulings. F1 category has to be 30 or 40 years and older bikes, and this class here could potentially be the same, 30 to 40 to 50 year old bikes in age. So they are split differently. They are categorized and scored differently. So yeah, you'll see a lot of different types of bikes being lined up here. I've seen quite a few Katanas lying out here. Philip Atkinson's lining up on the grid. Now that's a rider that's been out in the UK, racing in the UK for many, many years. He's based there, a top South African rider racing in that series. So great having him come out here and now play in this category with us. So it's brilliant having a top name like Philip Atkinson. Fergal McAdam, Ian McSkimming, Donovan Simpson, another big name there, Dave Nolan, Kurt Baum, Gary Edwards, Sorrel Potter, Mike Hogan and Peter Herbert. A little bit further down. This coverage is brought to you by the 2020 South African Classic TT, which is Dunlop South Africa also supporting that. So as the riders head off the start line, look like a nice clean start from all the riders. Out front it does look like it is McAdam that's got the whole shot. Yes, it is on the Katana bike that's got ahead of Philip Atkinson. So the pole position man just dropping down one position. Looks like he's going to drop down another. See the different lines again there in turn 2. Some riders opting for that Nardwar sweeping line, which gets you more drive coming out. Others opting for a tighter load the front end line to try and just stick it on the inside and make that move. And the old school block pass there not being put on there. Oh, here it comes though, switching that line and making that move on the inside. That looks like a good move there from Ian Pinkerton. Yes, he does make it stick. So it does look like Philip Atkinson getting slightly beaten up on this opening lap of this F2 and F3 Classic TT, although here comes Atkinson on the brakes heading into the tight 90-degree hairpin. Has he pulled her off? Side by side through there. Pinkerton not letting go. It's handlebar bashing as they come through there, but Pinkerton holds on to it. So again, these are classic riders in inverted commas, not holding back and already getting those elbows out, trying to hold on to those positions. It is the Katana of Fergal McAdam out front. Fergs McAdam as he's on the timing monitor here. Philip Atkinson is in third place there behind Ian Pinkerton. Mike McSkimming just behind them in fourth. Donovan Simpson, Dave Nolan, Kurt Baum, Peter Herbert a little bit further back then, Gary Edwards and Mike Hogan with Sorrel Pottis a little bit further back there as well. Steve Ingram, expect a little bit more pace from him. He's a little bit further back as well. Scott Mordaunt on one of the two-stroke machines. He's there in 17th place as well. Down the back straight, then the highway straight for the first time. And here comes Atkinson on the inside. Has he made it move? Yes, he has. On the inside of Pinkerton, and he closed up on Fergal McAdam at the front end as well. So Atkinson from pole position dropped down to third, but he's starting to make inroads now. He's got back up into second ahead of Pinkerton, and now closing down and charging down on Fergal McAdam at the front end of this class. So that is the first lap done and dusted from our F2 and F3 riders. I'm going to hand over now to Mr. Clifford Ogle, who's going to take over from me as I go get ready. I'm going to try and squeeze in a pre-race dump, and then I'm going to climb on for the 1000cc and Superbike race. So over to Clifford.
So Rob's out the box, and I'm in the hot seat, but so far the racing is showing some good pace up front. We've got Fergus McAdam like putting in some hard yards, but Philip Atkinson and Ian Pinkerton really keeping him honest. The guys are now running through the back end of the circuit. There's still at least a good 6 laps to go, so it's going to be very interesting to see who's got the racecraft when we get into the closing stages of the race. Further down we've got Sorrel Pottis, who's now looking to try and push into the top 10 with Adrian Gibbon and Dennis Kennedy all hovering around that top 10 position. But guys have just come over the line now, so Philip Atkinson putting a 2:07.6. That's not holding back when you're on a classic bike. Fergus McAdam just slightly off there. I mean, the gap is starting to ease away from him. I mean, we're still looking at just over half a second, but if Fergus McAdam is not careful, it could slip away from him here. Look, it's only the early stages of the race, so it's going to be very interesting to see if these guys can stick with Philip Atkinson and run the pace right down to the checkered flag. Yeah, look, to be honest, the heat is absolutely no joke, and I mean, just standing on pit wall is absolute torture. So I don't even know how the guys are feeling with their leathers and fighting the 13 corners of this Redstar Raceway. It really is a technical track, so if you're making a few mistakes, you're putting a lot of strain on the body. So the smoother you can be around this track, obviously it's going to reflect in your lap times. It's also going to make life a hell of a lot easier when you're fighting with the guys if you're looking for a podium finish or to try and get in that top 10 position. I see Sorrel Pottis now. He's moved into that top 10 spot, so good work on him. But yeah, as we watch the live timing here, we're seeing a few gaps starting to creep in here and there. The top 3 are keeping each other honest, but then there is a bit of a drop-off from Mark McSkimming, Dave Nolan and Donovan Simpson. So look, there's a lot to race for here, but the front guys are starting to apply themselves in this race. That's fine. It gives me the same feeling when I'm at home with the wife and I'm trying to talk to her and she's playing on her phone. So yeah, look, we're watching the live timing here. We're trying to get an idea of what's happening, but the top 3 have just come over now, and that's 3 laps completed. Mike McSkimming just coming over the line. We now wait for the next battle with Dave Nolan, Donovan Simpson and Mick Hogan. There we go, we're back. Okay, so Fergus McAdam now is what is he just set the it's Philip Atkinson's just set the best lap of the race, so the 2:06.153. So obviously those tyres are now up to temperature. He's feeling the rhythm and he's getting into it. So 100%. Yeah, the heat is actually not really a factor when you're on Dunlops. It's quite surprising because there are some tyres that tend to go off when it is too hot. But you know, Redstar is a premium circuit. I mean, the grip has always been good here. So yeah, I mean, if the Dunlops in that, if you're running the right temperatures, whatever, there's no excuse why you can't put in a fast lap time. But Philip Atkinson's got the hammer down now, and he's really starting to clutch out at the front. Yeah, 100%. So Sorrel Pottis now another spot. Peter Herbert's now in 10th place. Sorrel Pottis now up to 9th. So he's having quite a bit of a surge here as we're getting into the mid stages of the race. So yeah, it's looking very good. I mean, if he carries on at this rate, he could be pushing himself up into the top 5. But obviously he's got to get the hammer down and push hard in these last few laps. Yeah. So now the guys are pushing now onto the back straight as we wait for them to come through. There we go. And look at that. I mean, he's doing the business out front, honestly. If you look at it, I mean, there it is. First place, and the guys have started to drop off the back. But I mean, you know, it just takes one mistake and it brings everything back together. So Atkinson's going to have to be careful in the closing stage of the race. You know, when it starts to get hot, you lose concentration. I mean, it's not all done and dusted yet. We've got Fergus McAdam and Ian Pinkerton still hustling and looking to try and get that top step of the podium. So it's not done and dusted yet. There's still a lot to race for, but you can see now as we get into the late stage or the mid stage of the race, the gaps are starting to form. So yeah, a little bit spread out now, but I mean, I think as we're getting into the closing stages, this is going to bunch up nicely. There we go, Mick Hogan and Gary Edwards. Now they're in an epic dive. So let's keep an eye on that, because I think that's going to be a telling one as we come through the next few corners or the next lap, because both guys are looking to charge up the field. So it's going to be interesting to see in the next couple of corners if Mick Hogan can push through and get past Donovan Simpson and the likes. Yeah, there we go. So as we're watching now, that's bike 59. It's a little bit of a lonely ride for him, but yeah, look, it's setting up quite nicely as we were looking now at Adrian Gibbon and who we're watching now. There's a potential there for a dive. So yeah, as we get through the race and that, there hasn't been too much dive bombing yet, but yeah, these guys are not backing off. I mean, the lap times are still in the 206s. We've got guys running all the way down in under the 220s on old machinery. That's no easy feat. I mean, some of these guys are I mean, Brembo is a swear word or a foreign term to these guys. I mean, these guys are running old equipment, old shocks, that sort of thing. So, you know, we quite easily dismiss guys running under like over the 210 bracket. But when you have old machinery and you're feeling every bump, nook and cranny on the circuit, and that it is really impressive at the times that these guys are putting out. So we've got Gary Edwards, he's put in his best time of a 2:16, and Sorrel Potts is now also starting to come good on those tyres at a 2:18.056. So yeah, these guys are not hanging around, to be honest with you. Philip Atkinson still back out front. I mean, he's got a nice gap of about 6.8 seconds. So yeah, we're halfway through the race. So now it's on him now. It's his to lose. He's got to keep concentrating, keep focused, and keep banging the lap times. Otherwise, you know, anything could go wrong at any second. We're here to race. So I mean, the guys are not playing and just backing off. When the visor goes down, the red mist comes up, and we're good to go. So yeah. The front six guys, I mean, Donovan Simpson, I mean, I've known that guy from racing Brunch Run and that sort of thing, and I mean, doing 2:15s around here on a classic bike is really impressive. Sorry, just coming over the line. Losing a bit of time there, 2:17, which is a bit off his pace, but he's got quite a big gap from Dennis Kennedy, who's now holding out that top spot as he comes over the line. So we're having a look at the guys here now, making their way through the infield part of the circuit. You know, look, I mean, it's possible. I mean, it's Mick Hogan and Mick Hogan and Gary Edwards. So there's a dice on here. This is going to be the one to watch as we get to the closing stages of the race. Gary Edwards is actually starting to come good. We actually dropped in about half a second, and here we go. Down that back straight, and we get into that little tight left-hander. It's going to be interesting to see who's the bravest on the brakes. Although, as I look now, it looks like Mick's a little bit braver there, but it's all got to do with the drive out the bend. So, good racing going on here, and it's a bit of a yo-yo effect if you watch the guys going through here. Mick gaining, losing. So, yeah, we could see anything. It just depends now who's going to be the strongest in the closing part of the lap. And who's going to be bravest on that back straight. So they're now making their way out of the infield section of the Redstar Raceway for the Monaco Series, and yeah, it all comes down. This part of the circuit is where you've really got to be brave, because you've got to now carry the speed and preferably not get on the brakes here and carry that speed all the way out the hill. The guy who's losing the most corner speed there is going to be the biggest loser when they come up the top end of the straight. We've got the first four already over the line. They're now into the 7th lap. Bit of a big gap between Mike McSkimming and and Dave Nolan. These guys are really pushing their way through now. Here we go. Guys are pushing through that last chicane, which is quite technical. If you scrub or you try and carry too much corner speed into the first one, you lose the drive out the second. So it basically comes down to where do you want to gain. And to be honest with you, is if I look at it every time I've come through that part of the track, if I've gone in there too fast, I'm definitely losing onto that main straight. So yeah, it's got to do with not being too over eager when you see the checkered flag, and more about thinking about the drive over the line. Oh, we got a man down. Oh, that's just tucking the front there. Oh, that's unfortunate. I mean, he was pushing hard, and maybe trying to make up too much ground through the bend, and then just tucking the front. Good thing that the rider's okay. No idea. I can't see a number. He's trying to get the bike up. Hoping he can rejoin. I'm just trying to get a number, but unfortunately at my age my eyesight is letting me down here. It's good to see the riders up and okay. We just wait. Oh, put a smoke on the re-entry there, and it's going to be interesting to see if he can re-enter. There's nothing more soul destroying that than when you've come this far in a race to just throw it down the road. But it looks like the bike and the rider are in good working order. Hopefully there's no leaks or anything like that we can drop on the surface. But yeah, it's devastating when your confidence takes a knock like that. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets back on the pace and readjusts, because obviously there's all those gremlins playing in your mind as to why did you crash and is there something wrong with the bike, etc., etc. So yeah, it's devastating. I'm just trying to pick up a number, but yeah, not ideal way to be on the last lap of the race. But obviously, I mean, it's all or nothing. That's why we had to race. Is that when it gets down to that last lap, you've got to make a move somewhere. Here we come over the line. Thanks, I have no idea where we are. There are a few over the line there. We've got Tanya Orbolza over the line, so it could have been maybe Scott Morant that went down. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it's quite a mixed bag here with guys going over the line. Some of the guys are a lap down here, so yeah, it's racing all the way down the field. Here we go. Guys are negotiating their way around the circuit now. It's now the final lap. I think here we're coming to our leader, Philip Atkinson. I mean, he's ridden a faultless race so far. I mean, he's absolutely done what he needed to do, and already opened up 11 seconds over the competition. We've got Fergus McAdam just checking behind him that there's no surprises as he enters that last chicane. But yeah, so doing a solid job. So Philip Atkinson, I mean, what a great race he's run. It's faultless, and execution, and what a great way to start off the first classic race of the season. There we go. Takes the checkered flag. Good work, guys. Philip Atkinson over the line. Fergus McAdam now coming in second, and then we just wait now for Mike McSkim and Ian Pinkerton. And Donovan Simpson with a very impressive top 5 ride. Checkered flag is just waiting for the guys now to finish up. I'm sure these guys must be absolutely exhausted. Mike McSkimming now just crossing the line to complete the podium. So good job with Mike McSkimming. Also been racing for years in many different series, whether it's Superbikes, Classics. So great to see him come out here, start the year off with the podium. Congratulations, Mike. Good job. So a bit of a staggered top 5 here, but like I said, the lap times have been really impressive all the way down. But yeah, I think as it got into the later stages of the race, it's been quite tough, not only on the tyres but on the rider as well. So well done to the guys that have come through, taken the win. Very impressive, and very interesting development in the way that the times have improved over the later stages of the race. So I'm pretty sure as we get going into heat 2 and that, maybe if the temperature drops off a bit, we might see the times drop quite significantly. So that's going to be interesting to see. Nice gaggle of riders coming over here. That's Steve Ingram, Scott Morant, Roland Attenborough, James Alexander, Jacques Duplessis, and Henry Oberholzer taking 19th there, which is an impressive ride from Henry Oberholzer there. There we go. Guys still coming in drips and drabs, but yeah, great racing all the way down the classic Formula 2. Awesome gathering there. Let's hope for a couple of burnouts, although I think the COC will have their heads for that. But yeah, we can only hope for some power wheelies and some burnouts in true classics fashion. It's cool to see some old VFRs and slingshots and katanas in there. I mean, I haven't seen those bikes in here. Some of those bikes are even older than myself, but it's awesome to see that no matter what machinery you have in the garage, you can kit it out and come racing. Whether it's old, new, state-of-the-art, budget, rebuild, you can come out and come racing. And that's what it's about. That's what I've really enjoyed about the Monaco series, is that you know, it's open to all types of riders. It's an actual family event. I mean, we've got husbands and wives and fathers and daughters racing all the way down. So yeah, I mean Rob and his brother, Rob's mom hanging out earlier with him in the pits. The whole family's out to come racing, and that's what we want. I mean, okay, so I mean, I'm getting word here from our guys down in studio that Rob was getting a bit ahead of himself here and maybe stretching the headphones. But yeah, he's up next, and I mean, Rob's been playing it two ways today. I actually can't figure the guy out. He's sitting in a camo vest, but he's got the brightest boots on the grid. So Rob, do you want to be seen or not, bud? I mean, make up your mind. So yeah, but I'm curious to see how Rob's going to go, because I mean, he's got some serious talent on the grid, and I see he's all the way down in 10th. But Alan John Fenter, who took the Formula 1 Classic, is now back on the grid, and I mean, he took was an absolute masterclass in that Classic race, and I mean, he's now on pole with Monaco Gelderhuis. Garrick Flock, good to see him back, completing the front row, and then Damien Purificati, Dylan Barnard, Dion Nelson. I mean, he's made the switch now to the 1000. I mean, he was on a 600 last year. I remember Dion when we used to race in Branch, and he used to be on an R6. I think he was like 15 years old, and causing chaos with crashes down the field and taking people out. But look at him now, sitting on the second row of the 1600 heat. That's impressive. Then we've got Ricardo Otta. I actually caught up with him earlier. Stay tuned for that snippet. But Ricardo on the R6, I mean, this is his second year on the machinery, but he said he's not here to hold back, he's here to race. And I mean, he qualified on a 156.6. So on a 600, that's really going. I mean, this track is a double-edged sword. If you've got the 1000cc, you've got the horsepower up the back straight and maybe on the short straight. But these 600s, they are like wasps. They carry the corner speed. You can't get rid of them. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the mix as well, because the 600s carry the corner speed, but obviously the 1000s are pick up and shoot. So it changes the dynamic when you're riding on a mixed grid, because some guys are coming in there carrying a hell of a corner speed, while the guys in the 1000s are looking for the drive. So in the corner, it's all sorts of pandemonium. But there's so much talent all the way down the field here. I mean, we've got guys like Adrian van Dalen. I caught up with him earlier as well, saying that, you know, his qualifying was a little bit off, maybe hit a little bit of traffic, but he said, like, on the first lap he's not holding back. He's going to try and make the passes, because the longer you leave it, obviously the more difficult it gets, and the guys start to clear it in the front, and that completely messes up your race plan. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do starting from 17th. But then we've got, I mean, like I said, there's all sorts of talent. Matthew Herbert, I mean, that guy's raced nationals. I think he got close to the lap record last year on a ZX10, racing in the Thunderbikes last year. And I mean, he's qualified just ahead of Rob Portman, but I mean, he's sitting down in 9th, so he's on the third row of the grid on a 157. So he's also not hanging around, but he's got a bit of work to do here. And I mean, he's one of the guys I would tip for a top 5. So I'm expecting big things from Matthew Herbert. And then coolest guy on the grid, with a few battles cars, Luca Bertolini on the R1, down in 12th, with Terry van der Merwe just on his heels. So yeah, if you guys missed it and wondering what the hell's going on here, I'm Clifford Ogle. I'm filling in for Rob. Rob is now getting out of the air-conditioned booth, and time to go and fight the hard times in the heat on his V4. He's qualified down in 10th. But Yeah, welcome to all the viewers. Hopefully we're going to have an absolute battle on track with the 1000cc 600 first heat. But yeah, if you guys like what you see, if you have any questions, comments, please put on the Raceday page. You can follow us Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're everywhere. We're covering this full event, and we've got live streaming all around the track. We've got cameras trackside, we've got guys navigating us away through, so you can see all the action, you can get involved in the racing, you can share your thoughts, comments. Looking now on the monitor, and I can see that the guys lining up in pit lane, so it's about to get serious. Guys have got a good 30 seconds. You know, once the whistle goes, it's not like you can take your time and hide in the shade. The warmers are going to be off, and if you're not at the box in 30 seconds, you're starting from pit lane. So, you know, when that whistle goes, I think that's where the adrenaline really kicks in. Yeah, we see now the guys are being held on the grid, which is not ideal when you're wearing cowhide and kangaroo hide that weighs about 200 kilos in this heat. But yeah, I feel like when it gets to this point, it comes down to experience, and racecraft is everything. Is that you've got to try and time it at the box as best as you can. Obviously the COC is just checking that the track is clear and we're ready to go racing. You know, these guys are, like I said, they're not hanging around. Alan John Fenter qualified with his Suzuki on a 153.7. So I mean, that's not playing. If anyone's ridden around this track, I know, to be honest with you, like whenever I come and ride out here, I feel like the first two sessions I need a map to find my way around here, and then at the end of the day I leave here feeling like I've achieved something. But that's not anywhere close to a 153. So as I sit here now, my mind boggles. Where did these guys find the time? I mean, Alan John Fenter's done a lot of laps around the track, but 153 is not playing around. So it will be interesting to see, because the times are pretty close in the top 6, 7. Eh? So we're going to see racing all the way down. We've got Jared Schultz that's on the first 600. I mean, he's come all the way out from Cape Town. He's racing today in the Monaco series, and then tomorrow it joins us on the national grid for Bridgestone National Superbikes. So he's got quite a bit of riding ahead of him, but he's kicking off his weekend the right way. First 600, sitting in 7th place. So that puts him on the 3rd row of the grid, which is an impressive feat for a guy that's coming all the way from Cape Town. Like I said, this track is not an easy track to learn, so the fact that he's already on the pace and doing 156s is really impressive, and it just shows you how talented these guys are. I mean, he's got a ride, he's going over to Spain later on in the year, and you can see why. The pedigree is just there for the young man.
To me, this is one of the best grids in the country so far. I mean, this is one of the fastest grids I've ever seen.
I'd say so. I mean, if you guys missed it, this handsome devil sitting next to me is the birthday boy himself, Keith Buerta. Keith, welcome to the booth. Thank you for saving me. But yeah, it's good to see you, bud. I mean, yeah, I'm excited to see how this is going to go down.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here also. Taking a break from shooting stuff trackside and joining commentary, filling in for Rob Portman on his bike. Is he in race? He's in this race, isn't he?
He's sitting 10th on the grid. Yeah, and
98.
I mean, he was giving us a hard time earlier about what a nice life we have watching a live timing in that. But he's got the nicest life sitting up here in this cool box. So it's nice to see him out in the heat. But I'll be curious to see, because I caught up with his brother earlier who took the Bots win. And I mean, he's been on fire the whole weekend, and they're sharing a motorcycle, they're using the same tires, but what is mind-boggling for me on that V4 is that they're sharing the same setup. They're running a base setup. This is what we have, this is what we're racing, and that already for me, I mean, I can barely ride my own setup, so now to ride someone else's setup already is quite a impressive phenomenon. Yeah, it's an impressive feat. And like,
it's an interesting thing, Cliff, sorry to interrupt you, is the thing with the weight difference. Because I mean, the preload and suspension front and rear, especially on a Ducati, I mean, you're an ex-Ducati rider. I mean, their weight difference now, I mean, Sean's looking really good. He's lost 10 kilos in down season. He's fit as a fiddle. And I mean, now, Rob's kind of buff. How many kilos difference? 15?
So, I'd say maybe a little bit more, but you're 100% correct. You know, the thing is, like with these Ducati machinery, they're trying to shave millimeters and grams off the bike. So, you know, Rob and his brother, different size, different weight, and different riding styles. So, you know, I know like riding a Ducati 1199 a few years back and that, it's a very particular machine. It's very twitchy. I mean, it obviously has the passion, and you get a lot more feedback than you do from other manufacturers.
Sure.
But yeah, to share that, and I mean, the V4 motor is fantastic. I mean, I've ridden it already. The power around this track is plentiful. But yeah, just the fact that they share the setup, the pressure on the shock alone, on the tyre and that, is going to have huge impact. So yeah, I mean, very interesting to see how Rob can overcome that. Because I think if you gave him a bike that was maybe set up a little bit more to his standards, maybe he could shave a few seconds there. But we're going to see what he can do now on a base setting, which is quite exciting and impressive.
I'm just checking the times there. Is that the qualifying times over there?
Those are the qualifying times.
The top 5 is literally split by half a second.
Yeah. And you know, the thing is, with these guys here, like, I mean, the top 8 or 9 races, 10 races, have all raced at a national level. So these guys going into the first corner have experience, but they all have that not giving a hoot attitude. So everyone's going to be looking to stick their nose up on the inside and take the whole shot. And that just means pandemonium, because it's going to take at least 3 or 4 corners before everything gets sorted out. So it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to make gains and who's going to make losses, because someone's always, with that tight-knit group on the front 3 rows, someone's always going to be done in, unfortunately.
I think the big thing for this is to hope you get out of the first corner alive, you know, and try and set yourself up for the second corner and then into 3. But I can already see number 11, Jared Schultz, and Ricardo Otto giving it stick and trying to get into that first corner quite fast.
Look, they're probably going to suffer a little bit on the drive off the line, but they're definitely going to carry a few more kilometers an hour into the corner. So they might yo-yo a little bit, but going into that first corner, like I said, it changes the dynamic, because all of a sudden you've got guys coming in a few kilometers faster than the Oaks on the 1,000.
Yeah.
And yeah, someone's got to make way somewhere along the line. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens when the lights go out.
Number 7, Luca, I had a chat with him earlier. He's obviously had a bit of an incident in the down season. He actually showed us his wounds. He's got 2 knife stab wounds in his back. He was literally stabbed in his back. He's saying he's not feeling 100% yet, and it's quite tiring.
All right, guys, pit lane is open.
Quite tiring for him to go around this track, so I'd be interested to see how his progression goes into this race, starting from number 12 on the grid. What are we doing?
Announcing pit lane's open. So I'm having a bit of a malfunction here with the buttons, but apparently pit lane is open. So for everyone at home and for everyone in the stands, please know that pit lane is open. You know, it's
Piper
all on Raceday here for putting a rookie in the box.
I'm quite happy to see 202 Tyron Piper on the grid. I haven't seen him race on Redstar in a while.
Yeah, and you know, the thing is, like, these guys are sitting on 204s, 203s and that. And I mean, that's still a really, really fast lap time. I mean, the guys were out this morning, so sometimes, you know, qualifying, bit of traffic. Also, you've got to sort of get your mind going fast to sort of comprehend what's happening around you. And, you know, Redstar's not the easiest track. Sometimes I struggle for markers around the track. So, you know, like, to try and get the mind and to hit your markers right out the gate is quite challenging. So the fact that these guys came out early this morning and put lap times in of 206s, 204s, I mean 2 minutes flat, it's really impressive. And I mean, if you look, the 600s, we've got all the guys that are riding on 600, which is not the biggest field, but in the top 15, boom, there you go. There's all the 600s there, with a few other guys that have a bit of ground to make up, but just shows you that on a 600 you can come out here and compete.
Yeah, look, I mean, this is definitely one of the tracks where it kind of evens out. The straights are a bit long for the 600, and they definitely lose a bit of top end against the 1000s.
So yeah, the guys are making their way around the circuit now, so it's almost time to go racing. But you know, if you look at the track now, I mean, like we said, these guys, they're not hanging around, but it's not always possible to put in these lap times if the track is not in pristine conditions. And as we see there, the marshals taking full control of the field, the flags are on point, the guys have really kept good control over the field. I mean, we've seen a few guys go down, but no red flags. The racing is carried on, and I mean, there's still guys exiting the pit lane now, but everything seems like it's under control and moving smoothly. Also, one thing I must commend Redstar on is that they're not leaving the guys to hang around on the grid. The guys line up, flags there, lights on, lights off when we're racing.
Yeah.
There's been no messing around. I mean, even with us trying to get some track side stuff or whatever, if we're not on top of it, we miss it.
I mean, that's good though. I mean, it keeps it fluid and going. There's a lot of bikes to be racing here today, so the quicker they can get them out, back in, the better for everyone.
Well, I mean, 100%, Keith. I mean, Monaco is here today. It's attracted over 150 entries. That's 150 guys that are saying, like, you know what, in the first weekend of February, I'm going to risk it all and come out racing. And that's what it's about, is that the families are here supporting. I mean, when Chris Wright was out there in the first heat of the day, I mean, what a humdinger that was. But
that
I mean,
got us started off the bat.
what a great way to start the season. I mean, it was unbelievable. But the shouting from the stands above, I mean, I wasn't even anywhere near the stands, but I knew exactly who they were supporting. And I mean, that's what it's about, is that there's good support. We've got guys that are here to ride, here to support, and it's good to see that motorsport is on the up and up and coming back.
Yeah, look, I think like we said in Hanging Cable earlier this week on Raceday.tv, if you haven't watched the show, please go and look at it after today's racing. But everyone needs to work together to just grow the sport again. You know, it's a team effort. The industry is only so big, so if people don't support each other, you know, it's not going to go far. I think they're all starting to line up on the grid now.
Yeah,
I think this is a big lineup for me. I'm very excited to see who's going to get the whole shot going into turn 1. I don't think we're going to be surprised for number 88, Damien Perfecati. This guy is a beast on this track, and I'd love to see him finish on the podium today.
He's done a lot of laps around the circuit, old Damien Perfecati. And the thing is with him is like, I mean, I've been on the different chats with the racing chats and all sorts. I was getting the impression he was maybe looking at going ZX10 Cup, and I wasn't quite sure where he was going to end up.
He might still yet. I mean,
yeah,
he might come and compete here on his ZX10 also.
But it's good to see that he's here on his BMW, and I mean, he's on point with a 154.9. And yeah, he's done a lot of laps around here. He's quick around here. His wife is quick around here. I mean, taking second place in the 300s. So yeah, I mean, the married couple really know the way around this track. So yeah, I'm going to be curious to see how he goes. And then also, I mean, we haven't mentioned him too much, but Dylan Barnard. I mean, he's a youngster.
He's right up there. He's going for it.
He's not scared. He's a real racer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes he gets under people's skin, but he doesn't come here to make friends. He comes here to race, and that's what we want to see.
It's about, you know what I mean? Some of us are here to make friends, and some of us are here to race. Cliffy, top 3. Give me a prediction. We need to try and figure this
look,
out.
I mean, you're going to have to put in a hell of a race to beat Alan John Fenter. He's already taken one race for the day. His adrenaline was pumping. But yeah, after that, I'm gonna go out and say we're going to see Piero Ficati taking a 3rd, and maybe Garrick Flock taking a 2nd if he can keep it upright, because Garrick Flock is always that win it or bin it. So I'm going to say Alan John Fenter, Garrick Flock, Damien Perfecati, and sorry Mona, I'm going to say that you're going to have your work cut out for you coming through the field, but you'll definitely be in the top 5. That's my prediction.
I'm also keen to see what 96 Matthew Herbert's going to do out there today. I haven't seen him racing in quite a while, not because he hasn't, just because I haven't seen him. And then also Robert Portman. I wonder what he's going to do on that Ducati.
You reckon Portman for a podium?
I'd be optimistic to say yes, but I'd obviously love him to be there. I don't know, for some reason I feel Ricardo Attu's got a good chance to kind of take the win on the 600s.
On the 600s? Possibly? Look, I mean, Schultz has already shown his class, but I mean, the gap between Schultz and Otto is close. So
it's so tight. It's split seconds. It's like 0.3.
Yeah. So we've got the guys now on the grid. Brolly Dolly is doing good work up there, keeping them in the shade for now. But as soon as that whistle blows, he's actually going to feel the full extent of the heat. But last few adjustments there, I see Garrett Flock's bike in the corner there. Last few adjustments there, but there we go. The hooter sounded. It's time for everyone to make a mad dash off the track. And yeah, this is where the red mist really sets in. So yeah, I mean, we've talked enough. We've talked enough. We've waited. The guys are on their sighting lap, but I mean, this is those last few moments where you get the mind right, make sure that the bike's feeling right. Oh, we've got someone stalled on the grid. I mean, that's not exactly how you want to start. Oh, there he's off. I think it might have been Piero Ficati, eh? I don't know what it is with BMWs not being able to get off the line, eh? It doesn't matter who you are.
Some sign of a whole shot going.
Yeah, I mean, if you ride a BMW, I think you're prepared to sacrifice the start, but you can come good elsewhere. We see we've got a bit of cement dust on the track. I think that might have been one of the crashes that we saw earlier with the Formula 2 Classic going down. So that might play into the guys' minds a little bit. You know, the first time you come through there, I mean, that's pretty much on the racing line. Now, do you test it and say, you know what, I'm going to try and take the fast line around the corner and hope that the cement dust is doing its work? Or do you find a bit of oil in an unsuspecting place just on either side or just after and get a nasty surprise which sacrifices all your drive if you keep it upright? So, yeah, I mean, us coming from Bridgestone series and that racing with the cars, we've had our fair share of oil. And I can tell you, it doesn't matter how many times you ride around a circuit, as soon as you see that dust, there's just that little bit of negativity that sets in. So it's going to come down now to the guy that's going to be the bravest of the first few corners, definitely.
Yeah. Look, I also want to say thanks to our sponsor for this, ASAP World, for sponsoring the 1000cc and 600 class. We can't do it without you guys. Thank you so much for the support. But I think enough talking now. There we have it, ASAP World. brought to you live from Redstar Raceday on raceday.tv. Catch us on Facebook and on YouTube, also on the Monaco Series pages, and let's get this race going. One of the fastest racing starting this season. Line up on the grid, boys. I want to see racing happening now.
Yeah, you see the guys going over the back straight, but we also, just before this shot now, we had a few guys, you see they're really playing a bit of race strategy, trying to keep the wheels moving and spend as little time on the grid as possible. So, I mean, it all depends. There's guys that come through the grid that want to be first and line up there to try and get that positivity and that going. And then you have guys that snail a bit at the back and try and keep the heat in the tires. But it's all psychological. It just depends on what you want to take away from it. I've always found myself trying to snail around and try and keep the heat going, because you don't want to stand on the grid like we've got guys standing now. Also gives you a lot of time to think of things that could happen. So I think it's all down to the rider, but here we go.
Look at that going. Guys, there's so many names to look out for. Tariq van der Merwe, number 32. Luca Bertoloni. Jared Schultz. Here we go.
23 bikes. So, yeah, there's a bit of a different format now. I mean, the guys in Riders Briefing would obviously be up to it. So these guys, different start, line up on the grid, wait, get everything set, sighting lap. Now we're ready, waiting for the lights. And right, now we're about to go racing. So yeah, it's just a bit of a different formula for the start of this race. But it's about to get serious. We've been waiting, we've been talking.
Here we go.
We've been
green flags flagging,
assuming what could happen, but now we're about to see it. Wait for the lights, revs are up, there we go. Great start from AJ. Oh, great start from AJ.
Who's going to go into corner one? Garrick Flock's already dropped a position down.
Flock, come on, man. What are we doing out there? Purificati seems to be holding his line.
Everyone's safe through corner one. That's good.
I think that's Flock. Is he up into second?
He is up into second.
And
no, yeah, he made it up into second.
Mona Geldenes has lost a little bit there, but he's still in the top three. And here we go, over that cement dust. You see the guys are just taking it a little bit easy, holding the line, not too many moves being made there.
The top three have already made a gap in between the rest of the field, so they're trying to get out of there as quick as possible, obviously, getting out of there.
Look, you don't want to be caught up in traffic on this track. If you've got one guy holding you up through the combination of hairpins, then your lap time will suffer. So the best way to go around this track is to try and get out front and do it all yourself. Don't hang around unless you've got faith in the guy in front of you, which is always a gamble.
Whoa!
Oh, Caldenace, he's having a look up the inside. Is he going to make the move stick?
Is he going to go on the brakes, pushing out and puts his name in?
Oh, he looked at two there. What a brave move. Can Garrick Flock now come back at him on the drive? Oh, he's made a stick. Great move.
This is great camera work by our team. Very happy with those pictures. Thanks, guys.
So, Mornay's come to race. He's having a look with the wheel. Keith, Mornay came to race, but this guy's not hanging around.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be stuck in that
track. He's not
track.
waiting to see what AJ can do around this track. He's going to make it all happen himself. Obviously, he's feeling very confident on that R1 because, normally guys are a little bit sensitive at the start, but Mornay Caldenes is here to make moves, and this is going to be great. The guys have lined up here. It's going to be who gets the best drive onto the back straight. So we've still got AJ Fenter. Did he have a little look there? Up the back straight, but this is now Suzuki power against the Yamaha R1s. Yellow flags in the background.
Late on the
yellow flags coming onto the back straight, so someone's gone down. So we're having a look here. Yeah, we've lost a rider. We're waiting just to get confirmation there. Oh,
some big wheelies coming through the
apron
there.
Through the chicane. So over the line we've got Fenter, Geldenes, Flock, Purificati, Barnard, Schultz, and Dion Nelson. And then we've got this second little group of riders here.
Schultz is doing really well on his 600, up in the top 10 there, in sixth position at the moment.
I'm curious to see what sort of times he got off a standing start there. So there we have it. If you look up on your side of your screen there, Schultz.
Something's happened. Do we have a red flag on track?
Red flag's out.
Red flag is out.
There's definitely something going onto the back straight there, which is unfortunate. As we said earlier, Marshall's doing a great job. I mean, they didn't waste any time. We said earlier that yellow flags come out, but the thing is, you want to try and keep it racing as long as you can without trying to stop proceedings in that. But if it's in a dangerous spot or on the track or whatever, you've got to call it. And the Marshals, I think here, that's a very dangerous place to have a crash. If it is where
Matthew
I think
Herbert
it is on the back straight. Is it Herbert? No.
Seems like it's Matthew Herbert, rider number 6. 96. Sorry, he's gone down. See, ladies and gentlemen, the speed of these guys already, the commitment that they put in a race. This is full-on superbike races.
Yeah,
this is no joke.
I think you're 100% on the money there. I think we've lost Matthew Herbert on the first lap there, which is
so
very
Cliffy,
disappointing.
in this, so we're going back to a restart. Is that what it is? Because they've only managed to finish one lap.
Yeah.
Should we have a restart of the race and make sure it's safe and send them back out there?
So look, obviously the marshals now have got to get on track and do the work. You know, the thing is, it's one thing that the guys gone down, but is there liquid on the track like they put the cement dust earlier? The ambulance is going out now just to make sure that everyone's okay. So there's policies and protocol that needs to be followed here. You know, the thing is, if a guy is badly hurt, you don't want to risk it and risk serious injury. So yeah, it's never a nice situation to be, one, lying in the gravel trap, but two, now when you line up on the grid, I see guys jumping over pit wall at rapid pace there. I mean, I don't know if we're going to see tyre warmers come out. I don't think so. It's not that type of format. But yeah, the guys now will be standing on the grid. Tyres are losing a bit of heat and also just cook because those leathers, they're not too hot when you're moving, but when you're standing like that in the sun,
it's baking. You're in a body bag.
It's like sitting in the Maldives with a blanket.
Cliffy, I need to know now. So in terms of the temperatures in a situation like that, it's obviously not ideal having to come back to the grid. I mean, you're losing a lot of temperature. How long does it take for a tire to start decreasing temperature when you're standing like that? I mean, the track's warm. They had a 2 laps out there.
Yeah, so look, I mean, you know, if you're watching MotoGP, you see these guys go out and they've got these tire thermometers and they zap it with a laser and they immediately get the temperature. But I mean, luckily today is hot. I mean, in your winter season, when we go through the winter, then
you won't be able to do
drop off
that
very quickly. But even now, like, I mean, you've got to remember that your tire warmer is regulated at a steady 80 degrees. So now, I mean, the guys pressure going around the track as fast as they can in the opening lap, and now to slow down and stop, you get a bit of an inconsistent feel in terms of temperature and that on the tires. So look, they'll get up to temperature pretty quickly. Luckily, like I said, the weather is hot. The tires have been in the warmers all day. But you know, for the first few corners, you've got to be careful